What is we have
Welcome to SonarFeed! Episode 203 with special guest, Steve!
Zakuani!
Steve!
Zakuani!
Steve!
Wow.
Zakuani!
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah!
Man, welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. It's on, man.
Happy Monday.
Yes, indeed.
It is a very happy Monday, considering where we are in the 45th minute on Saturday night.
Yeah.
We didn't know where the show was going. We're all like, what are we going to talk to Steve about on Monday?
Good for Monday.
So we have a lot to talk about, I think, tonight. So thank you for joining us, Steve.
No, thank you.
But let's quickly go around the horn for those of you that are maybe new, those of you that are in the room.
And
I think
for
you
our
probably
friends
know who
online.
people are. Yeah. So across from me over here,
Hugo Garcia at Me Vida Seattle on Twitter. And across from me,
Dave Clark at Better Than on Twitter.
Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooli. And across from me, the wonderful...
Steve Zakuani and Zakuani11 on Twitter.
nice.
Excellent. Wow. It's correctly posted on the internet.
Good.
We pay him in beer. So
Yes.
it works
Producer
out.
extraordinaire.
It works out. So thank you for joining us
sure
again. Super excited to talk about a lot of things. I think we've got
Yes.
some Kingdom Hope stuff to
Yep,
talk about.
yep.
Obviously, some great Sounders things to talk
Yeah.
about, and just some other stuff. When Steve coming back, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just sort of dig right in.
One of the cool things about returning to the show is we're not going to give you the rapid fire questions.
I was thinking that. I was wondering.
We do have new ones.
We have
Okay,
some
okay.
new ones.
None of them will be about socks and sandals.
Okay.
Or maybe they all will. Anyway, so, I mean, what we've tried to do in the last few months on the show is we tried to do a little bit of the week that's just passed, the week ahead, and then other stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll sort of let you dig into anything you want to, but I
Yeah.
think it's prudent for us to probably start with Saturday night.
Yeah.
And just get into that. And I think we all have some impressions, but I think we'd love to hear yours.
Yeah.
Just digging into the game and how that went, and how we all walked away at the end of the night.
Yeah, I would say that since I've come to Seattle in 2009, there's been a handful of times in that stadium where it's been maybe so loud or the energy's been crazy where in a couple years' time you'll look back and remember it. Obviously, the inaugural game, the day they won the Supporters' Shield was another one. The time I came back was another one.
Yeah.
And I would say in a year or 2 years' time when Ozzy's goal went in, that's going to be right up there
Yeah.
too. It was like I was right there on the pitch, and I haven't felt that in a very long time, which the moment was amazing. So
Yeah.
No question.
I think for the team, if I speak from a game perspective, I never felt that the team was going to lose the game because it was weird to be 3-0 down without playing badly.
Yeah.
Like, they were playing fine.
People stayed.
Yeah,
Like you
like,
looked
it
around and
wasn't-
you were like, wow, there's a lot of people still here.
Yeah.
for
Can
a
we make fun
bad
of my
game.
seatmates later? Because two of my seatmates left.
So I was
Shemaine,
never,
friend of the show, was talking about how she and whoever she was with in like the 75th minute were talking about leaving, and then they didn't.
Good.
And then they were like, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So
So no, just from a playing side, like the guys' heads never dropped. Body language was great. The coaching staff was always positive. And after the first one went in from Nico, I was like, they're gonna come
Change
back.
the game.
New England
Yeah.
job. So yeah, I mean, it would have been great to make it 4-3, but
Yeah.
I think it happened in Montreal. And it happened there again.
Yeah.
So the character of this team is pretty good, actually.
Nearly
And
happened in Houston, even.
almost should have happened in Houston. Yeah, should have happened.
When the draws feel like wins.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think it was an amazing performance from the team because I think they played well in Vancouver, played very well in LA, and then played well on Saturday. I didn't think they were playing bad at all. So for me, it was harsh to be 3-0 down, and it didn't feel like it. New England, credit to them, were unbelievable on a counter-attack.
Well, they did exactly what Standard Heart wrote about, which was we're going to bunker and play the counter.
And they did it well. They did
Yeah.
it well. But yeah.
DC United pulled it off against Atlanta.
Yes.
They had basically the same kind of possession numbers that New
Yeah.
England did, and LA tried to do against Seattle. There are a couple
Yeah.
teams now where it's becoming very apparent
Yeah.
we don't want the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want the ball basically 12 yards in front of their goal,
Right.
and in our low block, and that's
Right.
it. And
Right.
it's starting to be a pattern for Seattle.
It is. And people know that. I mean, I think when you're playing Clint and Nico, that's, in my personal opinion, 2 of the top 10, maybe 2 of the top 5 players, just footballers, pure players in this league. And they want the ball. Clint and Nico don't play on the counter. They want to keep possession. So teams maybe are reading into that, especially coming here at CenturyLink. And it's like, you can attack as much as you want. The second you lose it, we're getting out the other way. So the one area of concern would be just how exposed the backline was. Like you can't do that. You have to get more numbers back. And Team New England is probably one of the best teams you're going to see at it. But I think of like a Portland, Houston, teams with really good wingers and attacking players. They would exploit that well. So lots of positive. The one negative was just how open they were on the counter.
Do you, not to get too in the weeds, but do you
Yeah.
feel like after 2 good games from Nell thing, or do you think it was just New England played it the way they wanted to?
Honestly, I give all the credit to New England.
Yeah.
I think Lee Win is very underrated. He's good. Agadelo's finally found his form. Diego Fagundes, he's hurt us in the past a lot of times. They just have good players, and they
Those guys are scary.
They're good
And that's
players.
just 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I think for them too, with their style, when that
Yeah.
first goal that slipped by happened early,
Changed
it
the
it
game.
for them
That-
because now
that's
they're
the
like,
key, yeah.
well, they
They
can
could
bunker
bunker
down
even
more
deeper.
and wait. So definitely,
That's the worst thing that can happen against that kind of team,
Yeah.
going behind. So, yeah.
Agadelo's got something like 14 goals and 4 assists in
He's
the
on
last
fire.
20 games.
Yeah.
And all the hype that
Yeah.
he's had for his life
Exactly. It's
is,
starting to...
it might actually be true, right? Like, dude deserves to be on that Gold Cup roster.
I agree, exactly. And I remember when he came through, was at New York, he was really young. And there was a lot of hype about him. And it never quite happened. But at this moment, he looks like the real deal. So
He's like one of the earliest homegrown players. Like
He is.
he was like
Really?
homegrown
Yeah.
number like 2
Yeah.
or 3, and
wow.
he's
Yeah.
been in the league for ever.
Yeah,
at this point.
I
And-
mean, 2010 maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
way back.
let me ask you, what do you think the feedback or the tone from Schmidt in the halftime was? What do you think he told the players?
Yeah, I mean, I asked the guys, and they said it wasn't negative. It was very, let's just get one and then see what happens. And 2 things can happen in that situation. I've been in both, where you go in at halftime, you're losing, and the coach comes in and just goes crazy. And sometimes you deserve it. But I didn't think the guys deserved it because they were playing well. It was a mistake by Stefan, and then a great counter-attack goal. So I think Schmetz played it right. He came in there and just said, let's get that first one and we'll be okay. And I think just off with the man of the match because all their decisions they made was positive. Bringing on Wingo as an attacking player, keeping Will Bruin on was a great move, and then they were just pushing guys up. Like he was like, if we lose 6-0, then we lose 6-0, but we're gonna try and come back into this, and I thought that was great.
You could see a change after Ship came in. What's that?
Off mic, a
Yeah.
request about
He helped.
heaps
Yeah.
subs.
He helped us. Yeah.
There were some not positive
Yeah.
comments about that, but you had mentioned Ozzy's goal and like a memory. For me, there were 2 things. Will Bruin let's come back to that in a second. Yeah. Will Bruin grabbing the ball out of the net twice and running back up to the midfield.
Hustling, like, let's go.
Like,
Let's go.
that
It's not
guy's
over.
new.
It's on.
Like, he could have been a lifer on another team, and he's all in right now. And that's pretty cool to see.
No,
and Ozzy's goal, like, obviously you felt it because of where it brought the game, but the whole place was like, yeah, that's why we stuck around.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just a
celebration afterward.
Yeah,
Like,
it meant a lot. I mean, it was. I'm glad Ozzy got it because he kind of exemplified for me in the second half the relentless. We're going to keep going, and then he doesn't score many, but scores big ones.
Yeah.
He does, man.
Well, let's
And with
go.
his head.
Can we go to that in a second? Do you have that queued up?
Oh, nice.
Mark is getting the goal queued up
Okay.
here, and
Cabezazo salvador de Ozzy Alonso, las cosas se ponen tablas y por qué no a buscar la victoria. Error de New England Revolution al haberse confiado y sacar a su mejor hombre de la cancha y ahorita con el empuje de este estadio el equipo de los Seattle Sounders busca la victoria.
Ellos son el que le dan ánimo al equipo y lo están consiguiendo. ¡Golazo! 3-3, se empata el partido, increíble. 3-3, eso es Alonso, el que
Thank God.
That's amazing.
Also, check out my goal. Right? Like a little bit of that, you know. Yeah.
But like you said, though, man, I happened to be in the front of 121, right behind the goal, and that was the loudest. It was the loudest. Yeah, your comeback. It's defining. I think Keller's retirement match was also
the quad save.
And for me, Marco Papa scoring the one that secured the
Oh my gosh.
the shield.
Yeah.
But man, this one, it was just so nuts, man.
Yeah.
How many? I mean, we've both been to a few practices.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Ozzy practice headers ever.
I've never. I've
One
never,
for one.
Yeah, I've never seen him score even a header in training. That's a good point.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah,
Like, really?
Never
Damn.
ever have I seen Ozzy score a header in training. Yeah, I mean he doesn't always make that run, and I think he can do that more. Where he's like the late run into the box.
Yeah, because he can sneak by people.
He can
man.
finish. Yeah, he's a good
like a
finisher.
ninja.
Well, because
Yeah.
he's going to score his few goals, and they're all screamers.
Exactly.
And there's 3 others that go, you know, to Rosie. But that, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun to see.
Yeah.
And, you know, they deserve it at the end of the day.
100%.
It was a fun little corner too. They've been working on a couple different short corner
ones,
sequences over the season. We've seen them and you know using the short corner to knock on.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, and I think that's probably as much as maybe the coaching stuff. I think that's something Nico probably is behind because I remember even when I was training with them in preseason, he was working on that a lot. Just what it does, short corners, is if you just swing the ball in from a corner, the defense is set. Short corners, it moves people around. You get to make second runs, and Ozzy was completely wide open because of that. So yeah,
You just brought up the off season.
Yeah,
training.
Let's talk
you
about
didn't really take an off season. You
No.
decided to make it preseason for a little while.
we can talk about it. So it all began, honestly, as far back as October of last year. Really? And it was Chris Henderson.
You were super bored just sitting on the couch.
Part of it. That's part of it. Yeah. That's part of it. So, Hendo just said to me, you know, have you ever thought about maybe coming back? And I hadn't. Like, it was no way. And then Adrian got involved and was like, think about it. So I trained with the team the last 4 weeks of last season. And I took the week of MLS Cup off because I felt that was their moment. So I text Schmetz and was like, I'll come back in the off season. The week after MLS Cup, I was in the gym with Clint because he was coming back from his thing. So we were actually training side by side a lot of times. And it was then I think that I was like, all right, I'm going to try and do this. And I know that the first week of preseason, there's always the beep test, which is kind of the measure of fitness. And 2 years away is 2 years away. But I was like, if I can come back and be as fit as most of the guys during the beep test, there's a chance to do this. So my whole off season was every day just working out at home and, you know, doing some stuff at Starfire with Clint. And there was no break for me. And then training camp rolled around. I met with Schmetz right away. We kind of set realistic expectations. You know, I said it probably won't be 2009, 2010, 2011 Steve Zakuani, but let's see what's there. And I did the first week in Seattle with the guys, was great. Absolutely loved it. Felt good. It was like, felt good. And then went down to Arizona and, they ended up rooming me up with Clint Dempsey, which was good because he was just coming back from something that I didn't come back from that, but I've been in his position.
But at the same time, you have a...
So, we had... It was a great... we didn't battle, though, But yeah, so that was good. And looking back now is, it wasn't a physical thing because I never missed a training session. I trained every time. It was more, for me, two things. One was to really, really get back might be we might be still a month out, even if I kept training. Like, we'd be mid-May, mid-June. And the second thing was I would have maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 good years left. And I was happy enough with what I'm doing now that it didn't make sense for me to kind of push that much for me. And the young guys were great in preseason. I felt that Wingo, some of the academy guys, I was enjoying watching them and I was enjoying giving them advice. And I felt that if I'm on the roster using 3 months of the year to get ready, these guys could be playing. And Wingo's been playing, which is great. That makes me happy. So it came down to me having to go to Schmetz the night before the first preseason game against Portland, pulling him aside and just saying, I was supposed to start that game. And I thought about just doing the game and then telling him on Sunday, but I already knew in my heart I wouldn't do it. So I told him. And the whole walk to Schmetz from our hotel room to the dinner is like a 5-7 minute walk. Clint was telling me, don't do it the whole way. It was like, you need to keep, don't do it. You've come this far. But I just knew.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't like you couldn't do it. It was like you chose not to.
Yeah. So it wasn't, it wasn't how I played in 2010. But I never had that expectation anyway. I was happy to be the 18th guy on the bench. My attitude during training was perfect, super positive. Even after I told Schmetz I wouldn't play, I could have flown home. But I stayed through every preseason game. And then the day we flew back was like a Wednesday morning. There was a training session just for the young guys. And I trained because I wanted to, and I'll be honest, I wasn't being the nicest guy that day because I wanted to kind of get on them and show them the standard of
Day one, you were out there and people were like, wait, is that Zach?
Yeah.
Oh.
He told me that I would see him at training that day.
I didn't tell
and
him.
Sandbagger.
I thought that meant, okay, cool, we'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing. And instead,
I was on the,
suited up.
Yeah. So it was a great experience, though. Honestly, great experience for me.
Yeah, because you get a chance to kind of look at it and be like, let's give it a go. And it was more your heart really making the decision. Not so much your body.
And honestly, watching them, so far this year, it was the right decision. I'm happy on this side of it. They're all my friends. I still see the guys. I hang out with a few of the guys and stuff, but it just was the right moment. The best thing for me was just I miss being around a locker room, a team environment. You're never going to replicate that. And being there, and some guys I didn't know. I didn't know Nico that well, to be honest, but we spent time together there. Because great guys. So for whatever reason, I end up hanging out a lot with the Spanish-speaking guys. I don't know why that is. So, it's probably I'm super good friends with Ozzy.
It's because Nico's super tall.
No, he's a good guy, and we had really good conversations about his time in Europe. And then I try to be super objective. I will tell you now that the hardest working player when it comes to training that I've seen in my life is Nico. That's just for me. Wow. His training routine, unbelievable. An hour early, he's in the gym with the fitness coaches. This is during preseason. While we're having breakfast, he's had a training session already in the gym. Then he'll train with us, and he runs the most by far in training. And then after training, he goes through a whole other routine, and that's every day. And he takes it. It's not like a DP who comes in kind of is lazy and is better than everyone. No, he's...
he wants it.
Take it easy. This is the MLS. This is not...
I'm sure, he doesn't have a position. He plays everywhere. He just runs around.
Literally everywhere.
And gets the ball.
It's funny because Oba Martins was back on defense, and I remember people like, what's he doing back there?
Right.
You see the same kind of thing out of Nico, where you're like, you're not the left back.
No.
What are you doing there?
It's contagious, I think, for the team to see arguably your best player on the ball along with Clint, who he's bought into it so much. And I love it. For me, training with him was eye-opening, just his... And that's why the day I trained with the young guys, I was telling them, that's how it should be. You can't take plays off.
Go do that.
Yeah, you can't take plays off. You can't put your head down after a bad pass. You can't let the other team beat you 5 times in a row in practice. Like, take pride, get after it. Because Ozzy, Nico, that's the standard these guys bring.
If you could teach S2 to be
like
11 Nicos.
Well, Schmetz was telling a story a few weeks ago about Christian Roldan, who checks his fitness numbers and gets them compared to Nico's. And then asks the training team, how do I get his numbers? What do I need to do to get his numbers?
Wow.
And that's been a goal of his this year, is to cover as much ground in the game as Nico. Except he's going to do it mainly on the defensive side. And so that, like, when we get there, that's going to be impressive.
No, Christian's great,
I need to roll back to when you were in training and kind of the observations from the outside. One, you talked about that beep test. And both you and Clint kind of center line the team. Like, I was like...
Me, Clint, and Ozzy. Because that's why we ran by each other. It was like, they were like, as long as we beat Steve, we'll be okay. And that's what they said. So I was like, all right.
So who's the beep test winner right now? Who's the player?
Christian. Henry and Christian.
Yeah, Henry and Christian.
Okay.
And so, like, when I'm watching it, I was watching for the those top 3, because that's always always interesting. And then I really want to know how you and Clint were doing. And I'm like, once you got out of, like, past the first third of guys, I was like, oh, this is real. This is legit. Because there were plenty, both of you had different reasons to doubt, but all of a sudden I'm like, no, they're right in the center. And that's a huge positive sign.
It was.
And you said 18 men on the roster, and I think that's underselling how you were performing in preseason.
I would agree.
I'll tell you, man, like, my first week in Seattle, I felt great. And there was a few moments where, I could still do some of the things I would do. I just think when I've gone back and, like, I watched videos in the off season to kind of see certain things, I could carry the ball 50, 60 yards 5 times a half, and I would just go relentless. Now it might be 2 times a half, for example. So it's just, my body's different. I'm a bit older. I could adapt my game enough, but I just felt, I know what an MLS season is like. And the first 2 weeks of preseason doesn't tell you the full story. And I'm just mature enough to know that when it gets to August and September and you've been at it for a while, it's going to be difficult for me. So.
But it's fun for stepovers, though.
Yes. They were still there. Yeah, they were still there.
And you've dealt with, through the Kingdom Hope and the charity game, you've dealt with a lot of players that have retired.
Yeah.
And all of them, every athlete you ever talked to is like, I miss the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And anyone that retires before, like, 30 is always like,
in
maybe I could do it again.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part that people miss.
Including, like, your big name guy.
Yeah.
This year.
And he's back, So, everyone, before I went into preseason, because I talked to Landon, because he had come back, and he said it took him like 6 weeks to even feel somewhat normal. And he didn't have an injury. So, there's that. So, it's hard. But I think for the rest of my life, I'm always going to think I can play. Like, it doesn't matter how far removed I am or how long I've been retired. But it's good that I came back and tried. And Roger Levesque said to me after when I announced that I wasn't coming back, he says, the difference this time is you got to go out on your own feet, on your own terms. And I felt that. I felt like I chose way more at peace with it. Exactly. So,
you're talking about injuries and coming back from them. I started to think about other players, and one of them that comes to mind is Torres.
Yeah.
It seems like having coming back, he came back, made a huge impact in the playoffs, and now hitting another injury a little bit. Do you think he's that it's getting to him, all the injuries and what he's doing, what's happening?
Honestly, man, I think if it is, I couldn't tell. He's so positive. Like, in the locker room, he's such like a clown, and he's so happy. So
we would never have guessed that.
So he's just a great guy, and he works hard. It's like all these guys, I think what I like about the team now is very different to the teams I played on. Like, I made the observation, but everyone there, they're super into it. They work really hard. They set good examples, and Torres is one of the guys doing that. And so I'm sure being injured is tough. Having repetitive injuries is tough, but you could never tell. He doesn't let that bring him down when he comes to work. So his demeanor's good.
One of several guys that have worn an armband, whether for their national team or their former team.
Yeah.
He's Panama so values his leadership that they called him up even while he was recovering from his ACL, and they're just like, "You're the captain," even though he's not playing. And Clint is another one. He's been the captain, Fry, Ozzy, Roldan now. Chad Marshall has been with Columbus regularly. I believe Will Bruin wore it for Houston. It's a huge amount of leadership influence on the squad.
There's a lot, and you can see it during preseason, and I think they have the right coach for it. Schmetz is like a player's coach. He's very hands off when he has to be, and only when he needs to get on guys, he will. Very super hands off, and it kind of takes care of itself, because if guys aren't doing the work in training, Clint's going to talk. Nico's going to talk. Brad's going to talk. When Zach Scott was there last year, he would talk. So, Hurt Gomez, it's just like you have so much experience from guys who know what the standard is, won't settle for less than that. That Schmetz, for the most part, can kind of just stay out of it. And when he needs to, is this. And I'll say one thing about Schmetz. He will say the same thing to Clint or to Roman Torres that he'll say to the rookie. Like, he doesn't care who it is. And he's always been that way. And I think that sets a good tone for the group as well.
Yeah, because you're straight up with him.
He doesn't care.
And he's always been the same from what anybody ever tells us.
The same.
It's like 20 years ago, Schmetzer is today Schmetzer.
When you're a rookie, you think like he almost hates you because he's so hard on the rookies. Like my first year in Seattle, Schmetz was so hard on me. But the longer you spend it, you understand why he does that. And you get to know him. And I've been very, very good friends with Schmetz since like my second year. For example, I would go to Schmetz about things, and he's told me a few home truths. We've had disagreements, but it's great. Like that's how he is with everyone. Yeah,
he was kind of the conduit a little bit when Ziggy was the.
Oh yeah,
he was the players guy.
He was a good cop.
Whereas
he was a bad cop.
Ziggy was very much about like tactic, like
Ziggy
kind of
was
overarching
tactics, setting the training schedule. Schmetz did a lot of the coaching even back then, and he worked a lot with the attacking group, so I was always with him. Eddie Johnson, like, there's certain guys that he took a liking to, and he went out of his way. And I don't know if he will ever answer this, but even now when I watch him with the group, Schmetz has favorites, but it's in a fun way. Like we
could just text him right now
and ask him. Yeah,
let us know. Let us know.
That he DMs us in the middle of shows.
Rolled on.
For me, it's Jovan Jones.
Seriously, man.
I asked him about.
What does he have? 1.8 million assists this season.
So,
man,
the dude's having a ball out year. Like,
listen, man.
I'm so glad too, because I watched him on the national side when he was in the world. And
Jovan transfer fees.
Dude,
Jones?
Yeah.
You mean?
No.
That was the best trade ever getting him from Chicago.
Wow.
But like, when he played against Mexico, like I was listening to the Spanish radio in Mexico, and they're like, I'm just glad there's not 11 of those guys on the pitch.
No,
like all overlapping runs on each other?
Yeah.
His ability to change the game as a left back is pretty unique in this league.
I've been on record. I said he's the best left back in the league. And I'm saying that from watching him in training with him, spending time with him off the pitch. And his impact, I mean, he's like one of the, in some games at times, he's the best offensive option for the team. When Clint and Nico on the pitch, when it's clogged up in the middle, you go wide to Jovan, he makes so much stuff happen for this team, and he can defend. It's underrated that he doesn't get beat. No right.
He does not get beat.
No.
And he looks effortless.
That's him on the pitch, off the pitch. He's just like the most laid back, chilled, doesn't talk much guy, but just what he's brought to this team, I think, and that's why I think Schmetz likes to kind of poke fun at Jovan and mess around with him, because you want him to come out of his shell. He should have a voice on the team. He should be more of a leader, and I think that's what Schmetz is trying to do. That's
what hairstyles are for.
Yeah,
and I think you're starting to see that influence the whole club on the. And I'm sure this is going to trickle down to the academy side, because at S2, like you're seeing Henry. They put Henry this past S2 game down on the defensive side as a right back
for S2, and then that's what he came in for the game.
And you're seeing that's a huge part of what we're doing.
Oh, this team is they believe deeply that both fullbacks should be forward as much as possible.
Yeah.
There was two. Sorry, I don't want to.
O'Neal told me his expectation is to be forward about 60% of the game.
Wow.
2 games ago, I think it was 2 games, that they were both like beyond the forwards.
Yeah.
And the defenders were well past the midline.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are those guys doing
Yeah.
right now? And it works.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, they're not getting beat.
No.
tactically it works because we talked about Nico covering all that ground, and
Exactly.
Christian covers all
And
Aussie.
Rodon.
When
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
three
Two
that'll work hard.
destroyers and
yeah, absolutely. And it helps if you do that and you can keep the ball, then it helps. Because if you keep losing it, they're going back and forth. But that's why I think Clint and Nico together, our possession goes that much higher.
Boom.
They're both so good on the ball, and that allows pushing for. So once they have this kind of-
And
Like, when they need you the most, you up there,
Yeah.
gives him
Yeah.
that
he's up in there, and like
Yeah.
it's funny to watch a couple times where he's like, oh wait, I'm at forward, I gotta
Right.
do this other thing. But like it genuinely felt like a good move because
Yeah.
he's big enough that he pulls a defender or
target.
two with
huge
him.
target.
Yes.
Yeah, it changed the momentum.
That diving
No.
header. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh, yeah.
Superman.
But I gotta tell you, that guy scores a goal not on a set piece, like scores a goal just running up. He's gonna run around the entire stadium. Like, he's getting a yellow for taking his jersey off. Like, is this you?
No, but
No, I agree. I mean, but he does that in training where he'll just randomly go and he wants
Coming
to
up?
score. He
Yeah.
just wants to score. So yeah, so I've seen it.
He's an up
playing like a kid,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I've seen that before.
He does. He plays like
Like a
a
kid,
super
yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
But that's
like, let me go try to get
but
the
that's
goal.
the fun thing is it does feel like you have a bunch of people who play like they're kids.
Yeah.
But are all a bunch of leaders.
Yeah.
And that's different.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I
It's-
think
yeah.
than a lot of teams, not just Sounder team, but in general, watching
Yeah.
teams on television, you're like, that guy's having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on over there? Like they
Was that
all look
Alessandrini or Dos
composed.
Santos?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Right. Anyway, you had a comment. Is it gone? It's gone. Is it about
I
Torres?
know what it was going to be, but it was you're splitting time as like a sideline guy, and then you're also doing studio color mostly on radios, but sideline
Yeah.
reporting on TV.
And
Yeah.
podcast.
You are like perfectly natural at that. Like, how did
thank
it?
you, man.
Yeah, man.
How did it happen?
The sideline thing was like my first year. This is my third year now on that side of it. The first year was pre-game show, halftime show, post-game show. I didn't feel involved enough. Like I don't like watching. I want to say something when I see it and be like, they should be doing this. And so a producer, great guy, Ryan. I asked him, I'm like, how can I be involved in the game? You know, I know Casey's doing color, Keith's doing play-by-play, or Matt. So he's like, let's try on the sideline. And it wasn't like you watch sometimes other sports, NBA, and the sideline guy's job isn't to analyze the game. It's to kind of talk about this guy has an injury and blah, blah, blah. It's not really about the game. It's other stuff. I want it to be about the game. So they can, and I enjoy it. And it's challenging because I'm talking, but I'm watching the game too. Because if they're about to score, I need to jump
Yeah.
off. Like, I need to let them make the call. But no, it's cool. So I get to watch the game from the pitch level, and I watch it so much through tactics just to see what they're changing, the sub coming on, what's his job going to be, and then describing that in 15 to 30 seconds is a challenge, but I enjoy that side of it.
Like Julie Stewart-Banks, she's doing it from basically like where the fourth official is.
Yeah.
And talking, but you tend to be more on the end line and observe. Like your focus is
Yeah.
on the game, where her focus is more like you were talking that more traditional role.
yeah, yeah.
So many soccer's turning into
Yeah.
this 3-person
Yeah,
unit.
yeah.
And it's interesting to see you're doing it differently than kind of the established norm.
Yeah, my preferred standing spot is back and see the team shape and how they're moving. It
That's
depends
dope.
where we go. They don't always have the setup for it, but that's my preferred.
It's like you're seeing the chess moves. I wanna
It's
see the chess.
it's the best angle for
board.
me. Yeah,
It's
Um,
closest to how you,
Yeah.
it's closest from the sideline to how you would experience it as a player.
Yeah, exactly. And then the guy who did it was Carl Martino for NBC used to do it, and way back. So that was kind of the blueprint we took. Now a couple MLS teams are trying to take what we're doing. The team down south,
Seattle invented.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
never happens. In
just
MLS.
like we invented soccer.
Yeah, they're trying it now with a few guys, but I think what we do is great. I mean, we have, like, the other day we sat in the production meeting, and I'm like, in this room, there's Casey Keller, legend, Marcus Hanneman, Zach Scott, myself. These are like really established former
How did you
pros
even get a word in?
to be?
Who pays the
great
tab?
point.
Who pays the tab?
has to be Casey.
Who talks the most trash in that room? Right now, I feel like it's Zach Scott. But
Ooh, no, Zach's actually well behaved.
because he's Twitter fire.
Yeah,
Dude, he's
Since he's not playing,
he's savage on
Kind of
Twitter.
infrequent.
brutal.
He's unbelievable.
So it's
yeah.
not.
No, he's not Zach. I mean, the person who just talks the most anyway is Marcus Hanneman. That's just Marcus just loves.
We're shocked.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think it's a good group, man. It's just like a really good, and I enjoy it too because Casey and Marcus have way different perspective as a goalkeeper, and the way they see the game to me is way different. So I think it's just great that the local team can have these former players on the broadcast. Like, you don't really see that. I think that's pretty amazing.
And
And
Same
Marcus
time-
is a homer. Casey Keller, not at all.
And it's at the same time
No
that
comment.
locker room environment in
Oh,
the
yeah.
same way because these guys have been there.
Yeah,
You know what's up.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Coaching, like you get Pete Fewing in there and Wade Weber in there. And
Love
you're
those
like,
guys. Love those guys. I wish we could have everyone on every broadcast because the perspectives are
little
so
busy.
different.
Get like
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
keepers
Yeah.
and just like a keeper
I just
corner.
realized, like,
Let's
Wade
go to the
defender,
keepers.
Zach defender.
Would you
Danny
have saved?
You're the only attacking player
I
on the
am
staff,
the
aren't you?
only.
see?
I am the only.
So in Vancouver, there were two things about the broadcast that I remember. One, flies everywhere on television. And
Just
two,
one camera.
Two, there was a point where they were like, let's go to Steve on the sideline. And then there was like 15 seconds of dead air. And then Casey comes on, and I don't know if he could hear you in his earpiece, and we just couldn't. And he's like, I totally agree with Steve right there. And it was great, because at home, I was like, Casey made a joke. And then I was like, oh no, he probably actually heard what Steve said.
There were a few technical differences.
Yeah,
that
no,
game.
that was actually a joke.
We all know
yeah.
about technical
Yeah,
differences.
Good.
That's all
Good
right.
for Casey Keller.
Yeah, that was.
High five, Mr. Keller.
Talking about Vancouver and overall other games. So, what do you think so far this season? I mean, there's a little bit of
The sound of season?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the record could be better just because we actually played pretty well. I don't think there's been, I can't remember every single game, but there hasn't been a game where it's been just like a really bad performance where it's just like, no, I think every game Houston, the first half was bad. Came out second half, turned it around, could have got a draw. Montreal could have got the win with a disallowed goal. And then San Jose wasn't a great game overall. Gave up the late goal, wasn't good. But the Atlanta game, there was chances. New York played really well this weekend. So I think the team's in a good place. And what I think Nico, for me, is the key because he's played so much football over the last 2 years, an incredible amount. And he doesn't want to stop, where sometimes I think there'll be a point where he maybe misses a game or two, and that's going to be beneficial for him. He doesn't want to stop because he just wants to keep going and keep going. Like, his idea of an off-season vacation was taking 2 extra days off, whereas for me, he could have taken 2 weeks off and I'd have been fine with it.
He got married to get those 2 days off.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh.
So he could have taken a lot more, and I heard a few people, I don't know, not no one here, but was like, no, he's been figured out, for example. No, he hasn't. It's like it's just we're used to it now, and I don't think we should take what he does for granted. Like every game you watch him, he's trying to make things.
So that's a really
He's
good.
all over the
He
like,
kind of said that
he said they defend him differently.
they defend me differently,
Yeah.
but that just leaves it up to
That's
him.
Well, he's not
But-
getting 10 through balls a
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
But
he's
that's a really good point, though.
Yeah,
So
he's-
I want to talk a bit of Kingdom Hope and some fun stuff, and then we can come back to like next week and moving forward.
Okay.
But I have one question on that
Yeah.
subject. So last week, it felt like the Dempsey-Nico thing was... It's not that they were trying to be in the same physical space, but they were trying to do the same thing, and it felt weird. Deuce did not feel like Deuce, and he's been on.
Not
Right.
L.A.
Deuce
Which one-
excited to
which-
Vancouver. Excuse me.
Vancouver, okay.
It just felt weird.
Yeah.
And this season he came in hot.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And Nico is Nico, and I think there was that. Did people figure out Nico,
Yeah.
or are they going to be able to both be on the same team at the same
Right.
time? This weekend felt pretty good.
And,
with the two of them, there were
yeah.
some awkward Dempsey moments on
Yeah.
2 goals, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Aside from that, though, it didn't feel like they were the liability together. It felt like there was still offense between the two of them, and Ladero especially, I think, came out from that. Do you think that there's some positioning changes that need to happen?
When we played way back like in 2009, 2010, we had that same problem with the two Freddies.
Freddie and Freddie.
They like to occupy the same space.
Yeah.
The way we fixed it was, and the reason it wasn't such a big issue was we had two guys out wide, myself and San Ayasi, who just stayed wide. And that stretched the other team's defense.
Right.
The issue with the Sounders this year has been Clint is always in the middle. Nico comes inside. You had Harry Shipp on the left. He comes inside. Jordan stays there. It was so crammed.
Yeah.
The genius move that's happened is Jordan going out wide. Because now you
Love
watch
that
his
move.
positioning. He just stays
Let's keep
wide.
him out there.
That's opened up, I agree. That's opened up a lot of
And
space
he
now.
eats people alive.
Exactly.
So
And now Clint and Nico. And I think a part of it is also Nico maybe doesn't have to come in as much because last year he did it when Clint wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
needed to. You have Clint Dempsey, who, I mean, he's pretty good.
I
Like,
think that's what's happened.
yeah,
he's okay.
He's, you know, so.
Yeah.
You know, at the first.
What does he have? 5 of the 10 posts
Yeah.
this season?
Seriously. Yeah. And I, you know, in the first 2, 3, maybe first 4 games,
Yeah.
I thought Nico was trying to let Dempsey, because he was having such a good start. Like, you know, I thought he was just giving him in space, like, do
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's that. I think it's
Yeah.
just-
But we also know that Clint can work with somebody who's 6 yards away from him. That was
He-
that was
right.
the Oba
He
magic.
wants to
Like
do that.
Clint and
Yeah.
Oba
Yeah.
could be like there could be 4 defenders around them, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden
They-
one of them
they
broke through
score.
on
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
more and more, I think we're going to see
Yeah.
Clint get that relationship with. We saw it just before the heart issue. We started to see that with Jordan,
Yes.
and we start.
Yeah.
Like Clint takes a little while to warm up to guys,
A little while, yeah.
but
yeah. yeah.
but when he warms up to them,
it's on. It's on.
That's a great point. And, you know, I kind of got a different, because I've known Clint. I mean, Clint played with my brother in England. When Clint was at Fulham, my older brother was young at the time and signed for Fulham. He's on the reserve team. And so they knew each other. So when Clint first came
your brother
here,
had to defend young Clint Dempsey.
way back. Yeah. So
He had a lot more hair.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when Clint first came in 2013, he came up to me and said that. And then obviously I'm really good friends with Eddie Johnson. They were really close. So I've always kind of been friendly with Clint, but I haven't really hung out with Clint until this past off season when we trained together and then roomed together. And I just through, I mean, if you're the first person you see in the morning is Clint, the last person you see at night is Clint, all through the day is Clint, you're going to get to know him a little bit. So I've kind of understood more that persona that Clint kind of has. And he's one of the best guys that I've met in the sport. I mean, we went to dinner a few times and we spent hours there talking. And for Clint, he comes to work, he has a job to do, and that's it. He's not there to make friends. You know, he's there to score goals, argue with the refs a little bit.
And that's
like,
fine.
Yeah,
He's
like,
there to score goals to fuck shit up.
yeah,
Let's
like,
go.
he doesn't. So that's just his mindset, I think, and it takes a while for him to kind of drop that for someone and just be cool with them, I think. Yeah.
That's true. It's never been true with you, but for a lot of the players that come over from England,
Yeah.
I noticed their media, and Eddie and I talked about this
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
and I have had like practice confrontations, but
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
so closed
Yes.
to the
Glad to
media
do that.
because they know the English media will take anything you say.
Yeah.
And turn it into something.
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah, and that's happened to Clint.
Gracias,
And it
Katie.
wasn't any local media, nothing, but it was a couple US-based media, national, and it was way back in his career. I think there was a point when people were trying to create a rivalry between him and Landon, and they would take things out of it. And I know both of them, you know, and there's no rivalry. So he didn't like that, and I think just over the years he's had experiences where things he's said have gone taken the wrong way, and so now he just doesn't talk. He just he just
Which
rather
sucks.
Yeah.
And but Oba was the same way.
Oba is
Like, he was
yeah.
very close, and
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, well, it's that his English isn't." And no, his English
no.
is absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
No, he could express himself.
I've
yeah,
been
he-
in a
yeah.
restaurant with Obafemi Martins, and it's
Yeah.
a great conversation. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in a restaurant with Obafemi Martins right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No.
yeah.
Yeah.
What restaurant was that?
Yeah, but they're
Barolo.
Basically,
That's- yeah.
hate the English media.
Yeah.
The English media is bad for your understanding of soccer players.
Yeah. They're closed off. Yeah, but they're very different people. Oba and Clint, so different. It's like, because I'm really close with Oba, obviously, and you know, him and Clint had a great on-field relationship. They never really hung out away from the field because they just were different lives, you know. So getting to know Clint more in this off-season, and I have no idea how it worked so well with the two of them, because they're just so different. The way they approach the game,
Telepathy.
the way they
That's what
view it.
happens,
Yeah,
man.
it's just two
Opposite
great
track,
players.
opposite track.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk some fun stuff.
Yeah,
So
the most anticipated football event of the year.
Yeah, let's do it.
so let's dig in. So this is
Yeah.
how many?
This is
how
the
many?
third one.
Third, right? Third event. So killing it at Starfire.
Yes.
Seriously, man.
And the date is
July 2nd,
July
Yeah.
2nd. Oh, that's after the Mexico.
the day after.
Who doesn't have a ticket?
It's a good weekend. Yeah.
I might be working it.
I
So-
know, but I'm about to buy my ticket now.
So dig in for those that don't know, both in the room and
Yeah.
watching us online. Tell us a little bit about the event and Kingdom Hope.
So this event, man, it's just like we did it the first year to kind of just test it out, and then we had such great help from the Seattle Reign. They sent a bunch of players, and I leaned a lot on my former teammates. The event went well, and I think the thing we did last year was we wanted to reach out to just a lot of the other guys around the league who fans like, but just never play for the Sounders. But they're retired, they got free
Dwayne
time.
D. Rosario.
Yeah, so he
That guy
came-
was good.
He's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he's not
yeah. So
Shabby.
Landon Donovan.
You had like
yeah.
the best two players
Oh
for
my
the U.S.
God,
and
I
Canada.
accidentally gave him high
It
five.
was the two guys. So they came
bad.
and we did it last year, went really well. And then we just said, let's do it again this year. And the way it starts is it's like 7 months, 8 months of planning. So I always start with a list of who I want to bring. And we start really outlandish. And then we kind of...
Wayne Rooney.
Wait,
Nah, so...
there was more outlandish than
there was...
D-Row and Landon and...
Yeah,
okay.
so this year, the guy I wanted to get was Thierry Henry. Because I got to...
That guy was decent.
Great player. So I grew up watching the guy, obviously. When he came to play for New York, I was bugging Freddie Lundberg to introduce me to him. Like, I have to meet him.
Let's go.
And he did, and we struck up a friendship. He's cool, but he does what I do here, broadcasting, but in England.
Did he
for
give
like-
you any Gillette razors?
Nah. So he had a schedule conflict, and then everyone else, Marshawn, the way that came about was we have a really good mutual friend here in Seattle. And he called me and was like, you should get Marshawn for your event, And I was like, there's no way. So he told me to send him like all the info on the game on Kingdom Hope, and we sent like 3 pages worth, and then Marshawn had like a 1-word reply. 2
Yeah.
words, I'm in. That was it. And it was like, all right.
Are the Raiders going to let him? Are the Raiders gonna let him come?
When that was all happening, I was being kept in the loop.
Yeah.
Just so to be aware. So the training camp isn't actually to the end of July, and he's
So yes.
yeah. So
Let's
he's
go.
coming. So
Because people are waiting.
Yeah.
Twitter is like,
yeah, and again, I told him by June 1st, if there's even any chance you won't be here, let me know. So we have 4 weeks to let people know. But no, he wants to come. I know him and Eddie are already texting,
What?
trash talking. So they were, yeah.
What
so
position would Marshawn Lynch play?
wherever he wants to play.
yes.
Best answer.
Is he going to run over
I think
Chad
so.
Ochocinco?
So yeah, so it's so myself, he has a store in Seattle actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So myself,
Yeah, down at first.
yeah, Jovin Jones, I took O'Neal Fisher. We did like an in-store signing for him. So he just wanted to get like a Sounders crowd out there, and we did that. So he's kind of, not that he owes us one, but in his mind, he was like, you guys do this, and then I will for
Excellent.
sure come through. So yeah, the
He's
plan is
going to
for him
draw a
come.
couple people.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then you mentioned Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, so unfortunately he couldn't make it last year. He had a personal issue come up. So he reached out to me in February this year, was like, yo, are you doing the game again? I'm like, yeah, we're doing it. And then he was like, just give me the info. And he went and we normally cover every player's expenses. Coming here, he did it himself, Ocho. So kind of as a good faith to show that I will be there. And he plays every week. I mean, I know he's always talking about FIFA and things like that. He's a big fan of the sport.
Yeah.
And my friends on
He's
KC,
tried out for teams,
Kansas,
hasn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Swope Park, yeah.
Yeah, so they just, I mean, when he played in the NFL lockout in 2011, he was training with Kansas City. And my friends on that team are like, no, he really, really loves and cares about the sport. And he said to me that when he was 17 or 18, it was a toss-up between pursuing soccer or NFL.
Really?
And he just knew that he probably wouldn't make it at soccer. So that's when he just decided to do NFL.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said it was kind of
Yeah.
Steve Nash has said this too, that
Yeah.
it was an economic decision.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I could play in North
But-
America, but
exactly.
I can be an NFL or in
That
Steve's
was it,
case,
yeah.
an NBA player. And
He's extremely coordinated, so
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to try some weird,
Oh, he's gonna-
weird
yeah.
things on
Yeah.
the field. and then Marshawn's just going to run him over. Yeah.
and when you get top athletes like that,
Yeah.
they try stuff that
Yeah, I'm excited, especially Chad, because he's like, really. Marshawn knows it's not his sport, and he said that he's like,
Yeah.
just come and. But Chad, like, is like he's gonna compete. He wants to show that he could have played against us.
Legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
So
about that
center
part.
back Marshawn Lynch is what you're saying.
that'd be
I would literally just pass the ball out of bounds if I was approaching that. Like,
Stiff arm.
I got nothing.
I
Literally
kind of
take the ball.
imagine. But last year, you had somebody who's in the league this year. You did that twice. You did it with Landon and you did it with Gooch.
Gooch as well, yeah. So Gooch O'Neill came out last year. He signed for Philly. And Landon went to LA. So everyone that came last year, aside from Gooch and Landon, is coming back. There's a very good chance Herc Gomez will be with us as well.
That guy's cool.
Zach Scott is playing. So it's Zach Scott.
No, you know you should do.
He's
you
going
should
to beat the
hit up
shit out
some
of
the.
you.
I hope.
Yeah.
Mexico brings some
yeah.
some A or B players, but
Yeah.
tell them you should come kick it with Beast
next
Mode
day, yes.
tomorrow.
The next
Come
day.
see Beast
Yeah.
Mode.
They
Come
played the
through
day
this
before.
charity
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Happy to holler at the boys in Spanish.
Please
They'll be
do,
like,
please do.
After they lose to TBD.
Sure, not gonna happen.
So-
Not at 3. No.
So let's talk a little bit about Kingdom Hope.
Yeah.
So tell us.
It's honestly, man, since I retired, I've been able to be way more hands-on. And I grew up in England, and it was like at 5 started playing. At the age of 7, my uncle was like, "No, you should be on a team." The next week, I was on a team. 2 years later, I signed for Arsenal, and it just kind of happened, and at no expense to my parents. And in club soccer here is so expensive. So I couldn't believe it. So we started a scholarship thing where we just help kids in this area afford to play club soccer. And then also another scholarship that helps with college tuition. So it just, the funds raised just go to help kids afford either soccer or college. I'm leaning more now towards the soccer side of it just because a lot of kids have been reaching out to us just like they generally can't afford it.
Yeah.
And as much as we can give to them, we try. So like since I was playing for the Sounders, outside of Kingdom Hope, I've paid for a bunch of kids to play soccer. Like I just did it anyway. I still do that. It's just
That's
like,
dope, man.
I just want them to have those opportunities.
Yeah.
And then through
Yeah.
Kingdom Hope official, we go through like actual channels to make sure we get the money to the right people. But that's why the game is being played. It is to help people have opportunities they might not have.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason behind it, yeah.
I'm going to check my memory right now. There's something beyond soccer they have to do as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really?
Not just
Yeah.
about. It's not just about being a good soccer player
no.
to get that
Volunteering
scholarship.
or-
No, yeah. So they have to do a certain number of hours of community service in the community.
cool.
Send us an essay why they should be the recipient of it. And then the hardest part is actually sitting down, reading those, and deciding which one you're going to give it to.
I bet you're getting some tough.
Yeah, it's,
like-
it's tough. Like, I stayed out of it now because I couldn't decide. So everyone else
Oh,
at Kingdom
wow.
Hope decides. Like I'm just.
No, man.
It's
Today's
difficult.
youth is amazing. Like,
Right.
I was at a march today,
Right.
and it was 2 16-year-old high school students that were leading some of the chants in the middle of downtown
Unbelievable.
in front of thousands of people.
Right.
And like today's youth, man.
Hey,
Yo,
Exactly.
motivated youth is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's no joke.
Exactly.
So if you go studs up and you get a red card in your first game for S2 and you're 15 or 16 years old, do you have to write another essay? Like, how does that work?
He was hyped. He was like, my boy Israel.
And then you try and walk off and go to the bench, and they're like,
Yeah,
no, you
no,
got to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
Is that like 2 essays? Like, what
Probably.
is that? I'm just playing. But no,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So tell
Yeah.
people how they can get tickets, what
Yeah.
they should be doing.
So the tickets are at kh17.eventbrite.com. So
Excellent.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, the game's not till 2 months. You got all the time in the world, but get them early because we have certain different brackets of tickets.
Yo, right now I'm seeing that there's still some of the special post-match meet
Yeah,
and greet.
let's talk about the special stuff
Yeah.
because people
Yeah.
dig that.
So there's 2 meet and greets. There's a general one which we do every year, and that's I think we open that to a couple hundred people. That always ends up selling out, and you get to meet as many players as we possibly can. We try to work with Starfire on that, and then this year just because Marshawn's coming, Ocho Cinco's coming, and Gold Cup contingent, Clint's coming. So that depends on the Gold Cup.
he'll come in.
They're doing yeah.
No, it depends on if he gets called up, not
Yeah.
not performance.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
if he gets caught up.
I meant performance.
Yeah, because it depends. I mean, Bruce might go with different looks.
So
but I
Pete
don't know.
Carroll's going to come.
Oh, imagine.
and
yeah.
wanna talk
There
to
actually
Marshawn.
will be most likely another Seahawk. We just haven't announced it yet.
Ooh,
I'm kind of keeping
Baldwin.
that.
Up my hat.
Well,
Who'd you say?
Oh, somebody talked about John Ryan. My brand is strong.
So we're keeping that just in case.
They
obviously,
stole house chef
with
from you.
Marshawn, but we might do both. And so yeah, that meet and greet is a special one with those three where it's super limited, just to respect their time. But you'll get to meet them for like 5-10 minute period, answer questions with them, and then get a picture and autograph. And they've all agreed to it. And Marshawn, there's a perception he doesn't like media stuff, but it's more like official NFL stuff.
Right.
Community based, like
He
he's the
seems
man.
like the nicest
Yeah.
person
I don't
ever
blame
from
him, man.
everything
That
I've
lead.
ever heard.
Yeah.
A press
league.
conference had asked him about his charity endeavors, and all of a sudden he will
goes
talk.
up.
So
forever.
y'all, there is
And
some tickets
So will he
available
tell us
right
that
now.
he's only here so he doesn't get fined?
Probably.
Is that going to happen?
So you're saying I could get a selfie with Dempsey, Lynch, and Ocho.
You can. Yeah, we
And
expanded. That one sold out quickly, and we expanded more
The
tickets.
$200 ticket
Yeah.
will go to this amazing foundation.
Yeah. So within
Let's
a
go.
week, we usually know exactly how much we've raised, and there's a dollar amount attached to every scholarship, so we know exactly how many kids we're going to be able to help right after the game. So, and then we get to planning the next year one. And I'll just say it because I'm here. We came, and I don't want people to freak out because
SonarFeed.
I don't want it to jinx it
Exclusive.
for next year. But about 6 months ago, a mutual friend of mine, and the world of sports is really small. You're always like one person from knowing everybody. And my agent's the same agent as Landon, for example. He's down in LA, knows everybody.
Is it Alexis Sanchez?
No.
Chicharito.
No. He's
Oh my
retired.
God.
He's retired. So they put me in touch with a guy called Roberto. This was like 6 months ago.
Roberto.
And Roberto was the agent of this guy and was like, what he does is go around playing charity games now. And we told him about your game and they're interested if it works with their schedule. Roberto's the agent of Ronaldinho. So this was like,
You know, that guy
He was-
throws
Dude,
more
I just
step
got
overs than you do.
I just got
this was my childhood
Oh.
idol. Yeah. So I had like a long chat with Roberto.
Did we
He came
post
to
this on the
Portland.
internet?
Let's listen.
So he came to Portland because they're sponsored by Nike. So they do events down at Portland and Beaverton. I went down there, met with him. We hung out. We worked out certain details. And as of early December, he was coming. Then the week later, Barcelona hired him on like as a club ambassador. And so he's had to do like a bunch of stuff for them throughout the summer when they come to the States on tour and around the world. So they ended up not working out with us. But that would have been like the biggest thing I could have done. Like that would have. So we'll try again next year with him. But
That's one that you chase
That-
every
I'm-
year
I'm
until
gonna
it
go for it.
happens.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone rolls up. So we have some questions that have come in on the internet
Yeah.
for you. And then crew in the room, we have a house mic that we can
Okay.
pass around.
Raise your
So
hand.
we'll
do
go
it.
Shout out
through,
to Adam
we'll
for
go
the
through
house mic.
some of the internet questions that work for you.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about for the event or Kingdom Hope?
No,
or
just
buy your
spread the
tickets.
word, buy tickets, help us out, help us help people. It's always such a cool event. Like we never know what's going to happen. It's fun, and then it's just you're getting to see such a high level athletes who obviously retired now, but right in our backyard here in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like it's unique. You're not going to see Marshawn and Jimmy Conrad at the same event ever again. So it's like things like that is very unique, and we try to make it like that. And while raising money for great cause.
That might actually be the best duo you
Yeah.
could have chosen. You'd be like, those two are not going to be in the same place.
Is my favorite soccer player, PGA Tour hopeful, going to be there? Or?
I think I need to. Yeah, we're working on him.
Yeah.
I mean, I can lean on him if you.
Please do.
So we've got a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Emily on the internet asks, in a world where you stayed on and made the team this year, but it sounds like you took a minute, where do you think you are in the starting 11? Where are you playing?
You know what's funny, actually? With all these injuries and kind of the bench becoming so thin, I think I would have been on the bench at least a few of the games and come on. And then, again, I'm always going to bet on myself. So I'll say that by July, August, after a lot of training and being back used to it, I'd be pushing whoever was in my position. The one thing Schmetz said to me when we sat down in preseason was the thing you'd always have in your advantage, we don't have anyone that plays how you play. Like we've never had before you or after you, just a winger. Someone who just, his only job is just keep going at the right back and get the ball into the box for our strikers. Get around the corner. We don't really have that. Jordan's the closest to it, but he does it in a different way.
Jovan Jones is the closest to it.
And Jovan too.
But he's
so left back. Yeah, so.
Thankfully, he's on the left side.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
So what's your favorite memory from a Kingdom Hope game so far?
Honestly, last year for me was... There's two. One was Marcus Hanneman bear hugging, crushing Michael Tete, and then
that was good.
Yeah,
there was a photo somewhere
of that. Yeah, I've seen it.
At least one.
And then Hauschka taking the penalty. I think that was good because he's another guy who grew up playing this sport and decided to switch at the last minute. That's probably really up there. But for me, it was when I stood there last year, and the first year was good, but last year was seeing the people that we had there, and it was raining a little bit. And still the people that were in the crowd, like it just that always warms me because it's just like
it was live
I never take for granted like the support we have here in Seattle. So it's just the support from the fans who came there was just amazing to me. And every time it says so much planning, blood, sweat, and tears, but when it's done and you come on the day and see that, it makes it worth it for sure.
I'm gonna. It's not on, but Kim Little. Mm-hmm. Played, I think, in the first year, right?
She was going to.
Oh, she was going to, but
she's Listen, we had some Sounders women, and that's the penalty. Yeah, and Seattle Rain girls, they're good. It's like I was fighting so hard to bring them back last year, but it just falls in their season. Like they stole the show the first year, and I've always been a fan. I watch the Rain when I can. Like Fishlock, that's my favorite player. I love Megan Rapinoe's game, so like I'm a fan of that, and then being on the pitch with them, like they're legit, they're good. Yeah.
When I refer to Little and Fishlock as like the best two players that don't go to the Olympics or the World Cup.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Fishlock she's unbelievable. Yeah.
You mentioned Pino, the most Welsh. Like you.
Yeah,
in the women's game
when there were the Sounders women, there was 1 year where they had all these national team players, and I would go down at Starfire, and watch Rapinoe, and she's football IQ and the things she tries, it's unbelievable. Like, and she's on the left hand side too. So I always watch wingers. That's how I grew up on the game. That's the lens I see it.
Do you think she'll do broadcast?
Oh, I don't know. Great question.
I think she's a fun interview.
Yeah, that's a good question.
She's a super fun. I mean, even away from soccer stuff, she's a fun interview.
Yeah.
But I think she like holds the room well. Yeah. And I could see her doing it, but I could also see her just being like, I'm out.
Not doing it.
If ESPN FC is doing studio stuff, I would love her as a studio host. Like,
ESPN has staff.
They still have some left, yeah. Emily's wondering, who are your coaches this year?
Good question. So the first year, Brian Schmetzer played. Last year, he coached. There's no Sounders game that weekend. They play on July 4th in Colorado. So he'll be in town, so I'm going to aim again for Schmetz. And again, shout out to Schmetz because he texts me all the time, like, what do you want me to do this year for the game? Or how can I?
No. Does he sign his texts?
Nah.
Do I have to? I just feel bad for the
other
team.
Game,
like
coach.
At this point, like
you gotta step up your emoji game, coach. That taco emoji's on fire this year. Let's go.
So we'll see. But I loved the job that Ozzy did at Zach's game. So he's on my short list as well. He took it serious.
Yeah. Real serious.
He was like,
I was on the sideline a bit, and I'm like,
I'm trying to
it was
win.
hilarious because like Brad's like having fun with it, and Ozzy's like, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, have you ever held a clipboard before? Because you were holding it like it is the only thing you've ever picked up.
The Seahawks should have consulted him for a draft.
No, he took it serious. The way even he came dressed like a coach, even in like pre-game team talk, he had like tactics. Like, he was very, very serious. Yeah.
Serious question here: can we get a pup update?
Oh, he's the best. So yeah, my dog Denzel is just past 7 months now. He's spent the whole day together. Cool. He's getting. So I got him. He was I want to say just a few pounds. Wasn't much at all. I used to hold him like this. He's approaching 50 now. So
what breed?
He's a lab mixed Australian Shepherd. So black and then like white on his front, white paws.
I'm guessing that all goes on Instagram because that's why I'm totally out of it.
He's smarter than all of us, and he's
times.
like opening and closing doors.
Wow.
Way too smart.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe how smart he is, yeah. But great dog, honestly. He's a great dog.
He's like turning down the fridge temperature.
I was going to ask you this from somebody that asked on Facebook that she's here. Lisa, what was your question?
Wait.
You got a mic?
Microphone transitioning to Lisa.
Yeah.
If you could interview any current player, who would it be?
In Sounders?
No.
Just anywhere in the world?
Soccer.
Global soccer.
Global.
You know who I want to interview? I want to interview Cristiano Ronaldo because there's kind of like Clint. There's a perception of him, but I've heard it's like the complete opposite as a person.
Like his charity work?
I've heard he's the most like generous, great teammate. That's what I've heard.
Really?
So I would like to. Like even I'll tell you a story. Even I think it's out there now, but even like Thierry Henry had a bit of that perception. But people don't know a lot of the things these guys do behind the scenes. So when Thierry played for New York, I think he found out that Dax or someone else, 2 guys on the team were big Arsenal fans, like massive Arsenal fans. So New York Red Bulls happened to have a weekend off when there was the North London derby, Arsenal and Tottenham. And Thierry got a jet and flew those 2 teammates to London to be his guests, took them to the game in his private box, and then flew them back. Like no media, no public. That was just for his teammates. So a lot of these guys, they do these things behind the scenes and we'll never know. So I've heard the same about Cristiano. I would love to just talk with a guy.
That's a good answer.
The follow-up was any interview you could do in any historical figure throughout history at any time.
Probably Nelson Mandela.
Love that.
Yeah, one of the best books I've read several times. Like I would love to have sat down with him, like, and just that would be someone I
What's
would
the
have
name of that
loved
book?
to have met. Long Walk to Freedom. So I'd have
Who's our
loved
book?
to have.
What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah.
And we decided we were going to try and corner you to ask if you would sign
Yeah.
Lisa's book for you.
Yes.
It's happening.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
This has been a saga.
Really?
Especially when they found out they didn't have pictures in the second.
While you do that,
on SonarFeed.
I'm going to take the opportunity to kind of prep you for the next question. Yeah, several academy kids were practicing with you over the. What one or two of them kind of stood out to you as talents that we should follow as they're probably playing for S2 now?
There's 2 of them. So one of them was, again, anyone who's like young and is going to be on the wing. It began when Aaron Culver first broke through. Like I always put my arm around them and try and teach them what I've learned from the game and give them confidence. So there's a kid called Shandon. I forget how to pronounce his.
Hopiao.
Yeah.
Hopiao. I can help you with that.
Yeah.
He was
I
in
do that after games.
best 36 players in the world for Real Madrid a few years ago.
What?
Oh, really?
They invited him to some
wow.
random academy-ish
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I
And
didn't
like,
know
Damn.
you guys were mining Oahu.
that. Yeah.
You have too much money.
Yeah. So I think he can be really good. It's a long way to go developing wise. I think the guy who's maybe most ready is Sam Rogers. I think that's his name. He
he scored that
came
goal.
into preseason and he fit right in with the guys. And he was playing centre back, sometimes playing holding mid, defensive mid. Very young, very comfortable on the ball, very confident. And he's someone who you can see in the future becoming like a captain of the Sounders, like down the line.
Wow.
He's got soft feet.
Yeah,
Like
for a defender, I was very, very impressed with him.
Uses lotion.
Like you know this person.
I'm talking in soccer language, man. Everybody,
Dave, do you know this song?
like somebody burn a clearance right at it, and he just takes control of it. It settles it.
Yeah. No, he's good.
Whatever their uninitiated soft feet crew. That was the worst.
Wow.
So backline is really tall.
Yeah.
On S2 right now.
Yeah.
So other than obviously Wingo, who's getting minutes, and Alfaro's up, and he'd been up last year too. Anybody else you think we should expect to see before the end of the season?
I think he played in a friendly, Nuhu, at left back.
And he's just Nuhu now.
Yeah,
right?
he's taken off the lot. Yeah. He obviously he speaks French, so during preseason I was spending a lot of time with him as well. He's very good already. He's going to be better, and the only issue for him right now is that the guy called Jovan Jones exists. That's it. So you're not going to get
that guy's
past that.
decent,
right? So, but he'll get there. Very attack-minded left back, loud, boisterous personality on the field. I love that confidence about him. One of the guys in the locker room that is very easy to get under his skin. Just do the simplest thing is going to bother him, and he makes such a big reaction about it. So guys keep doing it. So
No.
yeah. So
That's like this show. And it's Mark.
it is. So no, I think before the season, at some point, if Joven needs a rest or Open Cup games for sure, he'll be playing a ton.
Although, I mean, if you were going to get put in the 18 and you had to play behind Joven Jones, that would probably be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So watch that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an update. Nuhu is currently out with a dislocated left shoulder.
Yeah.
That was a weird moment too, because I think some of the reason it looked so extreme is because his English skills are
Is not
non-existent,
great. Yeah,
really.
exactly.
I know Jordy came out of the stands to
Help
translate. Jordy Dilem, not Moritz.
Yeah,
Jordy Morris?
and they're
No.
roommates. Yeah, they're roommates. So,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I've talked to Jimmy, and it's basically like he and Dilem are helping Nuhu with.
That's who he talks to. Yeah, he talks through. So, but he's gonna. The only guy that he'll learn quickly. The only guy that's ever not just learned English was Leo Gonzalez. That was it.
He refused all the time.
Like, he just never got.
But it was
better
super
from-
okay, though.
It was fine.
Yeah.
got
He was
used to
the
it.
first autograph I ever got
Yeah.
from a Sounder
Great.
back in 09.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a joker? I thought I heard somewhere
He was
that
a locker room-
prankster.
Leo
Yeah.
is honestly so Freddie Montero used to prank a little bit. Ozzy has like the funniest stories and jokes, like at preseason team dinners and stuff. But Leo's he cheats. So
At everything.
if you're playing FIFA, any kind of game, you're playing anything with Leo, he's gonna cheat. And so sometimes if it's a training game, we're doing like 5-on-5, and the ball goes out, and the coach and stuff don't see it, they'll ask the
plays
player,
it up.
who did it come off? They would never ask Leo because it's always gonna lie. So it's just like, so he had that reputation. But no, one of the best guys in the locker room, funny, good guy. He played behind me for 3 seasons, and I love Leo. But yeah, he's definitely a cheater.
Is he still playing Costa Rica?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah, he's down. I don't remember the team, but I think he even got like.
Didn't he go
He
back
got a
to
call
to the
for the
national team?
national
He was
team
on to?
after
Yeah.
like an 8-year layoff.
Wow.
They're like, "Hey,
I think it's when they were
help
playing
us
the
out."
US. Yeah,
yeah, which was wild because for some reason Costa Rica's thought Roy Miller has been a better left back than Leo Gonzalez.
Yeah, for me, Leo's one of the best left backs I've seen in this league. Like he was deceptively fast. Like he didn't look fast. He moved very slow, but he never really got beat much and was so intelligent up here. And I just enjoy playing with him. So I've heard he's still playing. So I hope he continues, and I hope he ends up back in Seattle one day. I know he loves this place. So
He made an interesting transition as years passed too, where because at first he'd blaze up that sideline and would be big full, and then he eventually was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that 3 or 4 times a game now, and he settled into that more defensive role.
Yeah.
And
he got
so well.
Yeah. And the thing I liked towards the end of his career, I think his last year he didn't play much, but his attitude in the locker room and training was perfect. Like love having those kinds of guys.
So we have a couple more internet questions.
Yeah.
People in the room, are there any other questions here?
Grandma.
Let's
go, Grandma.
Adam, Grandma has a question.
Quick question.
Who's got a microphone?
Can we get Lynch in the booth for 5 minutes to do play-by-play?
Oh man, I'll
Love that.
You're
Love
just
that.
trying to get that like
Love that.
the nighttime show that he was on. Oh my god, like playing video games with Gronk. Yeah.
I'll ask him. Yeah.
Okay.
Grandma.
Steve, you talk about all these other soccer players and everything, and we enjoy the interviews that you do and the input that you have during the game because we all go home and watch it.
Yeah.
What is your, where are you going with the Sounders? I mean, what is your job and how long are you going to stay there? And
Yes. What a great question.
Did Joe
Peter.
Roth give you all the shares?
Can you own the team, please?
So my relationship with the Sounders is so strong because obviously the coach Schmetz, but Adrian, the owner, he's always been very good to me, very nice, and honestly my role is so open-ended at this point. It's like broadcasting / sideline / ambassador, like just whatever. And I think they appreciate that I'm still identifying with the team, very active in the community. They appreciate that side. So it's kind of, I think I'll definitely be doing what I'm doing now for this season and the season beyond, at least 2 more seasons. And then after that, I think I'll sit down and think if it's going to be long-term for me or if it's time to really go in a different direction. But at least this season for sure, and next season for sure, I'll be doing everything I'm doing now, and then I'll kind of decide after that, I think. Yeah.
So let's let them know that we want them to stay here forever.
Yeah.
Let's let the team know.
As fans, we
Yeah.
Grandma's saying so.
Thank you.
On the Twitter chat, on the YouTube chat, somebody suggested you and Zach do Zach and Zach. Which I have to tell you would probably be really awesome.
Yeah.
Like offense and defense. I
Way
think you guys would have a
different.
really good time with that.
Yeah.
I'm really not surprised that he's fun on a broadcast.
Yeah.
And I think it's his side gig now.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But I think he enjoyed that.
He did
a couple
yeah.
weeks ago. So
yeah, he did, and he was with us this past weekend. I think all the guys go through it. You leave the game, you're not sure what you're going to do. Am I going to coach? Am I going to do that? Broadcasting is such a unique perspective of the game. You just see it differently. And for me, one of the things I had to learn very quickly was just be objective. Just if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, say it, because they're my friends, they're my former teammates. You kind of always want to paint in a good picture. Yeah. But once you get past that, seeing them as your friends and just analyzing Osvaldo Alonso, the player, it's more fair to the fans to get a fairer picture of what you're seeing. And I think Zach is perfect for that, because he used in the locker room, he would say whatever to anyone. Yeah. He didn't care. And he'll do the same thing now.
Is there anybody that you wouldn't say what you really were thinking about?
The guy I struggled with the most was Oba, because I talked with him all the time. So I struggle just in the sense of I'm going to see him for dinner after the game.
Like he only scored 2 goals.
It would be the next day he'd find out.
Oba only scored 2 goals tonight. I don't understand why there weren't 5.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So no, I mean, not really. I mean, the guys understand. I mean, me and Clint had laughs about it, because I'm not critical of him, but I was saying at some points last year he could have helped Jordan more, for example, integrate into the team. And Clint's very blunt. That's not my job, like, to make him integrate, you know. So, but we talk about that. So I've learned just to say whatever. I remember I can always explain what I mean if I call them or text them. Like I remember I've made little pokes and funs at Brad Evans, for example, on Twitter. Like we'll go at it at something.
He loves that.
But at the same time, we're texting and laughing about it. And then some Twitter users thought it was serious, and they're like, you two should stop fighting. And we're like, no, we're laughing about it. It's just, it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, so right now, the only guy maybe wouldn't say anything because there's nothing to say is Ozzy, because it's like, even if he's not playing his very best, it's still better than most people on the pitch. So yeah.
With the honey badger.
So a couple more internet questions. Are there more questions in the house?
Yeah.
Eileen?
I have one question.
Speak into the microphone, please.
Yes.
I have one question.
Perfect.
My question, it's question/comment. One of the things that I have appreciated is the pregame show with your interviews with the different players, especially those who don't talk very much.
Yes. Yes.
You have a special ability to get them to talk.
Yeah.
And bring more of their personality out into light to us that we want to see.
Yeah.
And, and have that connection with the players in their personalities. Because, Jovan, for instance. Yeah. I mean, you just mentioned Smet.
And he starts smiling.
And his face lit up.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest smile I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It started, I think, also with your interview with Dempsey.
Yeah.
Fisher as well. Some of the players, and I don't know if it's sometimes, but you just have this ability to bring out with them. And I'm wondering if it's an advantage probably as getting to interview them and knowing the questions to ask them, or also because you're also playing with them and that interaction that helps you.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. So in this off season, when I knew I wouldn't play, and we're kind of talking about what I want my role with the Sounders to be, I told our producer, let's get more interviews. We've never had Clint on our pregame show. People need to hear from Clint.
People haven't heard Clint speak.
Right.
There are Sounders, all-time Sounders fans who've literally never heard him say a word.
Yeah. So this away from just the regular after-training sound bites. We played well, we didn't play well. And that, Clint in the past has not wanted to do those things, but I think he felt safe because we'd had those talks in preseason anyway. And, I told him, not what I'm going to ask him, but along the lines of it might be talk about this. Is there anything I shouldn't? And Clint was ready to talk. He wanted to come out, and he was like, let's do it. So we were waiting for Clint, actually, for about 30, 40 minutes. And, everyone, Clint, if it's a bad training, he's not going to be in a great mood. If it's good, he won't be. But I said within 2 seconds, we'll know if training was good or bad. And he walks in there, and my first question is like, how was training? Oh, it was great, man. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a good interview. So
let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. So
if it was bad, would you reschedule?
Yeah, basically, probably. So
we'll call you tomorrow.
So there's like a
next
full. That was like 15, 20 minutes. I think they put like a 5-minute version. So I hope one day they put the full, because we talked about a lot. And I think the question for me that really stuck out, I asked Clint how he would want to be remembered when he retires one day. And his answer was so good. He goes, 3-4 years ago, I would have cared. Like, I really don't care. And I believe him. I think Clint's at a point where his accomplishments, he's going to retire as the outfield-wise anyway, the best US player career in Europe. He was so big time at Fulham. He's going to pass Landon's record before he's done. And he's been successful here with the Sounders. So I think he's going to go away in peace, on his own terms. And the opposite thing with Clint and Landon, when Landon retired, like the whole farewell tour, all of that, like we won't know when Clint's going to retire.
He's just
going to disappear.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm glad you brought up him just like feeling different or approaching things differently. I think we've talked about it on this show, and I know a lot of us have talked about it, in the stadium, that we came back from the offseason expecting no Clint.
Right.
And then he's there. And then match one, it's like insane.
Let's go.
What, Clint?
Yeah.
And we're all like, it's not that he was never that player for the Sounders, but it's like what he's been when he's been amazing, Clint, times 5.
Yeah.
And he just looks scary.
Yeah.
And that's where you look at last year and you say, wow, maybe I don't want to get into all the. It's a HIPAA violation to discuss this, like Clint's healthcare. Like he must have known something was up before we ever heard about it.
Right.
But he just looks like a whole different thing. When Clint's on, we all know he's scary.
Yeah.
Like on a national team level, let alone here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just nuts to see that.
No, he is, and he's hungry. Like I watched him.
That's the perfect word too.
In the offseason, he was only allowed to walk on the treadmill at a certain speed. Like that's frustrating. Then a couple weeks later, it was you can go to this. So he kind of was waiting to go. And the thing I love about Clint is he came back maybe 3 weeks before everyone else was going by himself every day with the training staff. I joined sometimes, and by the time preseason arrived, you can just see he was so good in preseason. Like I was watching him every day, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be good. And then the season started. I think he knows the end is near, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years, I don't know. But he has the perspective of, I almost didn't come back. He's just going to make the most of the years he has. That's what it is for him.
Right. I think he's done.
Yeah.
The symbol of
is what he's saying.
Clint as like back and both his head and like his heart or soul is in it was for me that second goal at LA, the Ashley Cole own goal.
Yes.
Clint started on essentially his own 18 because he was providing defensive support, which there were times last year when he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
When you said
and
Clint
then
and defense.
What?
And then he ran and was the assist on like the attacking 18, 19. To me, that's like when you get Clint Dempsey buying in mentally and he's back physically, that's the perfect example because he's there are times where he would have taken the shot rather than passed.
Right.
There are times where he wouldn't have dropped back to play the defense. He would only drop back to get the ball. And when you see that, you're like, oh, there's something he wants.
Yeah.
He wants something really bad.
Yeah.
And he lost MLS Cup twice with New England.
Yeah, and wasn't
he had to
really
watch.
involved with this one. I think that's a big part of it too. He won the MLS Cup, but not really. So in his mind, it's like coming back to show and prevent. Clint's at his best when there's a chip on his shoulder. He just is. When Clint's a little bit, upset or so, like
angry.
It's like it was weird because in preseason, Clint's so competitive on the pitch. I mean, we all are. Clint is to a different degree. Like that morning, we'd worked out together already, and it was great. We had a great time, and then a bunch of other guys came in and joined us in the afternoon for a second session. We're playing like a 5-on-5 in the indoor field, and there was like a 50-50 tackle with me and Clint, and we were not sure who the ball went off. And I'm kind of like, oh, that's our ball. And Clint lost it. Like, he went crazy.
And you're like, we're training.
We were just friends 20 minutes ago, you know? And then 2 minutes later, he's smiling again. So it's
Like,
kind
we
of,
just shared a cupcake.
Yeah, so that's him. So it's just, that's
Is
the way
there
he
anything he's not competitive over?
Nah, I think,
it's-
he's super competitive, man.
It's funny. So you brought up Clint not having been a part
was about
of
to
the
say
end
rap
of the
battle
season last
between
year.
you
So
guys. Oh
we
my
had gotten a
God.
question straight up. Do you think Sounders can win MLS Cup?
Yeah, I think this year. I think if I was in that locker room with those guys, that would be my one. I want to be the team to repeat. I want to be a Sounders team the first team that won it, and the second team, and the first Sounders team to repeat. Because when we repeated the Open Cup, it was more special because we came back and did it again, and then the third time again, it was just like you really prove. It wasn't fluke. This is how good we are.
And the country was.
So no, I think they can. You break down the Sounders team. Okay, like would you swap Nico for anybody? I wouldn't. You know, I'm happy enough with him. Like Clint the same, Jordan the same, Osvaldo the same, Jovan Jones the same. I like Chad Marshall and Roman Torres. Like I think maybe a couple areas where you might want to upgrade, but for Christian Rodon and Ozzy, I wouldn't change that. So it's as strong a team as you could want in this league, and the better the chemistry between Nico and Clint gets, the better the team's going to be. Jordan's going to get better and better. Will Bruin's going to be a big help. He'll get 6, 7, 8, 9 goals this year. So there's a couple teams that might scare me down the line, but I will take this team to go toe-to-toe with anyone, and on any given day they can win.
Who are those other teams that you would finalize
to
right now?
be honest, man, I think Portland's attack is very good. I think if we're just being honest, Diego Valeri,
I mean, they had a nice
Nagbe,
addition.
Yeah, Blanco, Adi is big time. I think those guys are very, very good. The part I think where Seattle can get at Portland is I think Seattle's defense can end up being better than Portland's defense. I think it can.
Portland's kind of like the 2014 Sounders. They
just want to go.
They want to go 3-2 every game.
Exactly. So I think that Houston wingers, what they did to the Sounders in that first half worried me. I think they match up well.
Oh.
And then, but I think Seattle's a better team than Houston. And then Atlanta. I've been very impressed just with they have a clear identity what the coach wants to do.
Yeah.
When it works, it's great. When it doesn't, then so they're gonna.
Well, I mean, they came in with intent.
Yeah, this is
to be scary.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but you have to give the Sounders credit because when I was playing, the relevant teams was Sounders, the Galaxy, Salt Lake. Of those three, only one team is still relevant. Like the Galaxy's not going to be great for a while, I don't think.
Nope.
Salt Lake isn't the team they were before.
Nope.
Seattle somehow stayed. So we're fortunate to have a team that at least every year is going to compete in some way. So I think that's a very unique thing that they've managed to somehow always be in the conversation.
Can I ask you an MLS question?
Mm-hmm.
no.
Can an MLS team win CONCACAF champions by 2020?
Oh, yeah, by 2020.
By 2020.
Wait,
Yeah.
so
3
like
years.
last year's Sounders team plays in the 2020 CONCACAF, right?
Yeah.
No, 2018.
So you think? No, let me rephrase that.
I think
Will
changing
an
the
MLS team win it by
changing the
2020?
tournament
I think
changes
the
that,
change
right?
helps. I think MLS teams are getting better and better all the time. Well, I pay a lot of respect to the Mexican League, man. Like I think playing against those teams, going down there, like
This is a Sounders neighborhood.
Steve knows what he's talking about.
You're listening to Liga MX feed.
So
Chivo
yeah.
no question.
So they could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Will it happen? I don't know, but they could. Yeah.
I like it.
So this year,
Yeah.
one of your very good friends has turned it into a goal scorer. And it's something that he hasn't really been doing in MLS this year.
Mm-hmm.
What has gotten into Darlington where he seems a little bit greedier this year? He's taking the shot.
Hella
and
greedy.
So this is the thing. I met him when he was 15. I went to Akron. He was coming in a couple of years when I first got there. And he used to come and practice with us sometimes during the spring. And his whole thing was he was so good on the ball, but he never was goal dangerous. Then in my sophomore year, when it was his freshman year, our team was pretty good. We had him. We had a guy called Teal Bunbury, who just played for New England at the weekend.
That guy's okay.
Yeah, so...
like half that team's in the league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The team was very, very good. And they got even better year by year, even after I left. So the thing with Darlington was just he's such a team player. Like, he never wanted to be the star. Like, he didn't have that in him. Now, I think what's clicked for him is it's almost like
He
Ozzy.
has to be the star.
I used to tell Ozzy as well. Like, there was a while where Ozzy didn't know how good he was. Like there was games in 2009, 2010 when we were kind of new to the league. We'd be on the road and we'd be under so much pressure and we're getting killed. And Ozzy was making so many tackles and interceptions that without him, we'd have lost the game 5-0. So, but he kind of was just, that's my job. He didn't understand how valuable he was. And then it kind of clicked a couple years ago for him. And he wants to be captain now. Before he didn't want to be captain.
When he lost it.
I think it was you that told me that you asked him, like, do you get up to for certain players? Do you play harder for certain players? And he kept saying, "What?"
He was very confused.
He's like, "I just destroy
eventually,
people."
Freddie Montero was like, "I'll translate for you."
Right.
Because I was asking him if he had to play. It was a Open Cup game against Landon at Starfire. I'm like, do you have to play harder because it's Landon Donovan? And he's like, I don't understand.
Right. Yeah.
And this was like his first year doing English interviews. And eventually it became out that he didn't understand the concept of playing harder.
Yeah.
It wasn't the English that was a problem. It was
He's like, I'm at like a 14 all the time.
Yeah. So
why would I play at a less level against anybody?
Yeah, so he wants that responsibility. And the same with Darlington. Since he got into the national team, I think he just kind of he wants that challenge now.
Do you think that's it?
I think that's what I think now he's realizing how good he is. Like we obviously were very good friends, and when I had a conversation with Ozzy in the offseason, I asked him who the hardest guys to play against were. And in that list was Darlington. So within the players, he's got all the respect in the world. He just hasn't always done it stats-wise. Doesn't always show up. But when you play with him, like he's as a soccer player, he's unbelievable. Like the kid is really, really, really good.
But that's
And
like the
now he's adding
Roldan
goals.
thing on the league standards. He could never have a goal or an assist.
Right.
And people may never know how good he is as a player. And you watch him and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
But Darlington on the ball.
He's in my top 5 that I've played with on the ball. Like, I liked him in college, loved him, watching him in the league. Yeah.
I know you're gonna.
I think he's let me think. Not the best is Oba. Like Oba Femi Martins.
The best?
I wish
no question.
I wish I cherished more the times I had to watch him play and play with him. Like, there were some training sessions and Oba's so opposite someone like Nico, for example, where Oba isn't doing the extra stuff. It's just natural. He might walk on the field as we're starting training, go lazy through the warm-up, and as soon as you start scrimmaging, different level. It's like he doesn't even stretch really, never in the gym lifting weights, but he's by far doesn't lift weights.
Lifting weights?
Doesn't lift weights.
What did lift?
Doesn't lift weights.
So funny thing. So funny thing.
He looks
so
like
I
a
was
bodybuilder.
So I was in Spain. I was in Spain
so unfair,
during the
dude.
World Cup.
That's so unfair.
So I was in Spain during the World Cup, and I'm in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I'm at a bar for a USA game. Was it Portugal? It may have been Portugal.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing a pitch black jersey, Yedlin. And I'm in this bar, and this guy from Morocco speaks like 10 words of English, comes up to me. He sees Xbox, and he goes, Obafemi Martins.
Yeah.
That's all he knows.
And then he knew 8 other words in English. And then he's about 5 times my size, and he wanted to change jerseys with me.
Man.
And I was like, this is not going to work out for either of us. And we had a good soccer conversation because I spoke Spanish and he spoke Spanish, and it was fine.
Right.
But it was crazy to me. And that's where the cool thing about Oba and Dempsey and Nico and now players years and years later, the cool thing about soccer in Seattle was, like, I'm literally on the other side of the planet, and somebody's like he knew Sounders and he knew Oba Martins, and that he was a badass because he had watched Spain soccer. Like that's crazy.
No, amazing.
And I think I don't want to get in the Oba Martin show, but it's not that we took him for granted, but at the same time, world-class player.
He's honestly he's my list. He's number 1, and then there's like a top 5. It will depend, but he's not going to move from number 1. And I'd say for me, I took it for granted just for this. I just got used to seeing him do it all the time, and it was just like, when I think back some of the goals he scored in that stadium, it's just like, were we really watching this? Like
goalkeepers are watching it.
But it was like a cartoon
it's a
where
different level.
someone came into like 10 other players, and there was just like a big dust ball, and then he just came out on the other side, and the dust ball was still happening, and then he just put the ball in the net. And you're like, aren't you 5'8"?
Yeah.
Like, what just happened?
Yeah. No, he's absolutely the best player that I've played with.
He's watching right now. So we had a couple more questions, but current MLS player that you'd want to play with or against, or both?
I never shared the league with Piatti out of Montreal. He's special. Like that is a special player. He's the only guy who I would maybe argue taking over Nico. Those two I would argue. I can make cases for both.
Yeah.
There's no one else. I've played with Valeri. I like Valeri. I'll take Nico. There's no one else, but he's a special player. And when we played against them this year, I mean, he was at his best. Like he gave Alonso and the crew problems, which doesn't always happen. So I would have loved to play with him. Just being around great players is so good, and seeing them every day in training, you get to see even more. So he would probably be the one guy that I would say, yeah.
So, quick, I'll turn this on its head a little bit. Defender that you could just destroy, that you would love to play against.
Like who's in the league now?
or not.
Or that I did, or that I would like.
Either way.
I mean, yeah.
Someone you could eat up.
Who do you want to run over right now?
He's not playing no more. It's
Like
all
someone
good.
you don't even need the step overs.
Yeah,
you
just
just look at
push it
them
and go.
and just go around them.
Honestly, man,
and
I
it's
feel like-
Michael Azira.
No, honestly, man, like the opposite is probably the way I looked at it more. When I played, it was like 3 or 4 defenders where I knew it'd be a really hard afternoon.
Yeah.
The rest of them, like, I never fought because I was so confident. There was a time when I think end of 2010, start of 2011, where my level was just. I just felt it going up, and it was like I went into games knowing like I'm going to do what I need to do today.
So Chad Marshall.
And
No.
I went against Chad in the 2010 Open Cup, and yeah, there's a few times I went by Chad, but Chad's good. But again,
But really, somebody that you feel like you could just own.
let me think of who's the right backs. Who's the right back for? Oh, who's the guy that played for LA Galaxy the other day? Right back, the young kid that Jordan was killing.
Smith?
Whoever that is. Yeah,
Steris.
No, Steris is the center back.
I would.
the center back.
Like I would feel.
Like when Jordan did that to Steris last year, I was like, that's
dirty.
Yeah.
That's what. That was a Zakuani type move right
like
there.
I wouldn't think twice about it. But I just I prefer playing against the better players though. Like there was Ziggy would tell you stories where when we had a hard game coming up, especially around playoffs, I would call him or something and say, put me on the second team in training this week. Like I want to go against the first team just to get ready for it. So there's a lot of guys who I wouldn't go to sleep thinking, what I would just show up and know I'm going to do it. 2 or 3 guys where, okay, it's going to be a battle and I need to be on my game. So,
is it more fun to play against just a scary good defender, or do you want somebody you can just eat up?
No, I prefer when you play against the better teams, they're better games for you. Like we played against like old school Houston. I used to hate it.
Right.
Because you're going to Houston, they're going to be super physical. They have no interest in playing. They're just going to foul you or kick the ball long. It's not a game for me.
Well, you
it's
don't
not a game
take it
for
easy,
Freddie.
right? Yeah.
When we used to go down to LA to play against the Galaxy, they had Beckham, they had Keane, they had a really good team, Janino, but I would always score against that team because they were so open. So I always knew the moments when. So I prefer the Salt Lakes and the LAs, those games, because there's going to be more space on the offensive side. So the better teams actually I preferred.
Okay.
You talked a little bit about it with Darlington.
Yes.
The U.S. national team coaching change. What are you seeing from somebody who talks to players that have played under both coaches? What's the change been like?
It's the best thing for him. So there was that controversy last year when he didn't go into the national team camp, and they said he turned it down. So people that don't know him, he's the most simple. He's a family. He's the most family person I know in the sense of. He's got his wife, he's got his 2 kids, he's got the 2 dogs, and that's his entire life. Like, he does not leave the house after training. Like, that's all. His whole Instagram.
I mean, he's in
media.
Portland, so.
True.
Shade is coming.
I mean, the food's good in Portland.
It is,
but
yeah. So everything he thinks about is just his family. So for him, it's like, even going to the national team, for some guys, that's like, that comes first. For him, it doesn't. If my family needs me, I'm going to be here. So he got into a couple of camps with Jurgen, and he hadn't come on, even as a sub, and that really bothered him. And he's not the kind of guy who's going to go into the press. He just internalized it. So when he got called into another friendly, he wanted to know, do I have a chance to play? And he was kind of given that's not the right attitude. Just come in and see. And for him was like, do I want to leave my family for 7 more days? I don't. I'm going to stay home. If I never play another national team game, still have my family. I don't care. That's how he sees it. So the best thing for him was that Bruce came in.
Yeah.
He got a second chance, and he's back in the picture now. So yeah, it's tough to understand. Like, I see it from a coaching side where you want guys who don't care, who are just gonna come. But once you get to know Darlington, it's just like that's just the person he is. He's not interested in anything else. Like, when we play Portland, he always stays an extra night over, and they stay in my place or whatever. So it's like, kids are crazy running around, whatever. And it was after, yes. So after the last time the Timbers played the Sounders up here, they stayed over at my house, and I told him and his wife, you guys sleep in. I'm gonna get up early. I'm gonna take care of the kids, whatever. I'm gonna be up. And
can you say that when they're playing here that day? Like, sleep in. The game's at noon. Get to the stadium like 10:30.
Relax.
Yeah. So, anyway,
it was so I did. I go up early, was with the kids, and after like 20 minutes, I was praying that they would wake up and come and take me. It's hard. So, that's not for me, but for him, that's like his heaven. It's like once he's with them, that's it. So
Steve's making pancakes.
I'm trying, man, and the
what
kids.
What are you guys doing?
It's more like Uber. It's more like Uber Eats.
It's really funny though. On Nagbeed, he's a player where, as soccer fans, I'd say Seattle talks the least trash about him.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you watch him and you're like, oh, we have players like that.
Yeah.
They know how to play defense and offense and can hold the field and just play their game and don't care about anything else.
Exactly.
So he's interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Whether you like Portland or not.
Right.
I mean, good for him to make choices, whether it's family or playing or both.
Yeah.
I mean, Arena's not stupid.
No
matter how much we all want to
Right.
smack
Bruce,
him.
Yeah. Bruce.
He's not stupid. So he's kind of coming in on this. He's like, I've done this before.
Right.
I'm going to just pick the guys I want
Yep.
and go from there.
Yeah.
But interesting take, though. You really think that's changed his perspective a bit.
It has. I think just getting more time with the national team, realizing, because he never felt valued under Klinsmann. He has to feel valued. So realizing that I know Bruce and the assistants had called him and had a long chat, reassured him he's part of the plans, that helped.
Yeah.
And then once he gets into camp, he just feels more, I'm valued, I'm going to contribute.
Yeah.
He's that kind of player. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's other questions in the room. We got
Yeah,
one?
let's do it.
All right.
Microphone moving over.
Question?
The winning, how I felt for the guys. So
What was the question? Can you ask the question on the microphone, please?
One of the things we appreciate about you, Steve, is you say us.
yeah.
You
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold, we can't hear you. What is it?
And
There you go.
we appreciate the fact that you call us us, that you're part of us. So what did it mean to you for the team to win the MLS Cup?
I was down there. Yeah, I was down there in Toronto, and like everybody, nervous watching the penalties. Being there, just so nerve-wracking. Wanting it for the guys, and then when it was confirmed, when Torres' penalty went in and everyone did their celebrations, there's a few people I wanted to find because I knew just what it meant to them. I think the first guy was Adrian. That's the first guy, just because he wasn't even watching the penalties. He had his back turned and just was waiting for the crowd's reaction. He was so.
Dang,
That's
familiar to me.
He gets so into it. So, but I went to find Ozzy because then we had a long, hug, whatever, embrace. Because
I saw that.
yeah, because I knew what it meant to him. He'd been really wanting to win it, and he felt like this year was the year. We've come close before. This year's the 2014 Supporter Shield year, should have won it. We're the best team, didn't. And he felt that this year we could do it. And so I found him, Brad, the guys that I played with. Zach was down there. So I felt just like you guys. I don't think any team deserved it more. Just because Seattle's always been successful, always been good, but that MLS Cup was kind of hanging over our heads. And if we didn't win it that year, it's so hard to get back to the final. I worried, are we going to wait 4 or 5 more years? So I felt that sense of relief, but excitement like everybody else. It just was, it's one of the best nights. It is the best night in franchise history, and you could feel it. And then, the after party at the hotel, seeing everybody just happy and getting into it. I felt just happy for the guys, honestly. Yeah. Great question. That was, yeah.
Any other audience questions?
Can I ask a silly one?
Yeah, whatever.
Silly question coming up from
question.
Lisa.
So Ziggy said you knew what you did.
Ziggy said I knew
What you did when you went down to Portland.
Ooh, great, yeah. No, so I mean, I can answer that as much as I can. So I don't know if you remember that season, 2013 season. It was on paper for me the most talented team I've been a part of. So we had started preseason. We had myself on the team, Eddie Johnson, Oba had joined us, Clint came eventually. There was Mauro Rosales was still here. There was Mario Martinez. He was here.
Oh, yeah.
Very deep, talented team that underachieved, and it was all for off-the-field reasons. It's too much unrest in the locker room. Guys, there was just too much going off on the field. That's, Eddie had done the pay me thing, so that didn't sit well with guys. And when the offseason came, the team prioritized certain things they wanted to take care of, mainly who they were getting rid of. And Eddie was on his way out. He knew that. And my contract was done. We verbally agreed to a new one for the next year, but nothing was said in the offseason. And I sat at home waiting every day. Nothing happened until I reached out and said, what's going on? And then all my conversations were with Chris Henderson and a tiny bit with Adrian, but I never spoke to Ziggy once. And so, the guys down in Portland, I know them. Like, Caleb Porter brought me to the country. Darlington Nagby was there. The assistant coach at Portland, one of them was a senior when I was a freshman. He took care of me, and kind of an inaction from Seattle came about. And then a week before, I forget the name of the draft, I think it's the re-entry draft. A week before that, Seattle had said to me, there's 3 teams that want you. Would you go? And that's the first time they'd ever even spoken about me leaving Seattle.
Wow.
And it was New York, it was LA, and it was Portland. I can talk about this stuff now because it's so far. I spoke to Bruce on the phone. I spoke to Mike Pecky on the phone. And I spoke to Caleb on the phone. And I know Seattle was pushing for me to go to New York. Just because they never knew if I resurrected my career, that wouldn't be a good thing. So go to the East Coast.
Go as far away as possible.
We don't want to play against you.
And that wasn't my choice. I wanted to stay close to home. I wanted to stay and play with guys that I was comfortable with. So when Ziggy says that, it's because right before the re-entry draft, we kind of reconnected and said, we'll find a way for you to stay once XYZ taken care of. And I kind of said, okay, cool. But I meant that as in, once you guys do that, get back to me. Not as in, okay, cool, I'm going to stay. And so when the re-entry draft came and Portland picked me, I knew that was coming because I talked to them. They'd agreed to it. And that's so I left Seattle over a misunderstanding. Going back, I would change it. I would stay here. And I know they said that. And so the funny thing about this league is you do preseason in the same place. So in training camp, it's awkward because I'm on the same resort as Ziggy, Adrian, and Chris. And we're not speaking to each other. It's just like, damn, I'm with the Portland guys,
crazy,
and I love these guys. But it was like no one wanted to make the first move. So I'm just going about my business. I only cared about getting my career back on track. I didn't care about nothing else. So it was just like, that's fine. And then what changed things was Ziggy then sent me a long email and acknowledged some of his part in it, some of what I did. I replied to him, and me and him, we were great after that. And then right around when I retired, Adrian called me right away because I told him before I announced it, and he invited me up to Seattle and then told me pretty much any role you want in the organization, we'll find a way to do it. So it was a great
Savvy
5
move.
years,
Savvy move.
a very bad 3-4 months. So it was, I wish now I would have just, in a perfect world, I just stayed. I was happy to stay here. I love Seattle, but miscommunication, feeling valued, not feeling prioritized, those things play into a player's mind. And then you make decisions that are best for you at that point, and that's what ended up happening. So
you pulled something off, though, when you went to Portland that not many people do that cross the aisle. You were loved by those fans, just like, maybe not just like here, but there certainly wasn't the rejection of you that
there was
several, like our mutual friend Mike was clearly rejected by that fan base.
The reason why, I think, is because the people they support, Caleb Porter, Darlington Nagby, those guys, they're my friends. And they would always see me with these guys. And since those guys welcomed me with open arms, they couldn't go against that. And to be honest with you, man, like, I made good friends in Portland. And I think that was a really hard year with injuries and stuff. But for my sanity, driving in every day and getting to be around Darlington and a few of the other guys, it helped. because we were friends outside of the game. Like we spent time in each other's houses when I was down there a lot more than we can here. And when I was processing through retirement, I could talk to those guys. So it helped. And I think the Portland fans, their favorite stars accepted me, and that was it. I did training camp away from the team because I was coming from an injury, but I worked day by day with Valeri because he was coming off an injury too. And so we hit it off back then as well. And the fans saw that as well. I just think there wasn't a bad vibe from me, and I think they were fine with that. But
you were involved. They saw you being involved. Part of it, like going.
Yeah, I was gonna try my best for the team. Like I was just gonna play and try for the team. But since I've retired, like I haven't hidden it. I'm a Seattle guy, and 5 years here plus 1 year.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I wanted to make fluoride jokes about Portland, and I can't do it.
Let's turn everybody against me. Can you talk a little bit about Diego Valeri as like a person? I know I believe it's his birthday today, or was it yesterday? Like,
who are you? Who are you?
But let's just be clear. Valeri is on the list of players where you're like, oh my God, that guy's super good.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
He's not just a great soccer player.
He's good.
He's one of the best humans. When I got to Portland, I was rehabbing. Man. I was rehabbing from a groin injury. He'd had the same groin injury. We both had surgery a week apart, so we're doing the same rehab. And so we would train with the team, like by the team in the morning, and then just me and him in the afternoon. So we got to talk a lot. We both had a love for reading. We spoke about that quite a bit. And he was so positive with me every day. And even at times when I got into the team, then would have like a hamstring strain. He's one of the guys that would always put his arm around me and, see how I was doing. Just a very good guy. And similar to how I've wanted to be involved in the community here, he does that in Portland. He's super, super active in the Portland community. Just honestly a great guy. Obviously a great player, but
he's really hard to hate.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. Even when I saw him in this preseason, we was walking in the hotel, and he didn't know I was there, and he stops and he runs to me and gives me a big hug and he goes, "This just made my day. You trying to come back?" So he's that kind of person.
This is really disappointing.
Yeah.
To get rid of Portland.
Silly question, yeah.
So you mentioned a player that he's from overseas, and kind of going back into some of the players, the young players like Nuhu, who had a big injury.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a question, a little bit different, but it's not silly. But I wanted to ask because you yourself are an immigrant from another country, to this country, and today I spent a lot of time at a march voicing, my support for immigrants.
Yeah.
Do the players, especially the newer, younger players, do they have difficulties? Do they get a sense of what's going on with the, with the rhetoric on immigrants that you hear in today's?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would say that the young guys, Nuhu, Jordi Delem, they're maybe not as conscious of it because their experience personally has been very different. They came in to play soccer, they love it, they're getting to do that, it kind of stops there. I think when you talk to someone like an Alonso or someone, even maybe a Freddie Montero or John Hurtado, guys who've made this their home and will make it their home when they retire, those guys would have a bigger sense of it. Like, I came from the Congo to London, we were immigrants there, and then it took us several years to get our citizenship. And now I associate myself as being from England. So I've been here now over 10 years in the States. So I understand what it is to come from somewhere else, find a home, and be made to feel welcome. And I'm probably way more in tune with the outside world than some of the young guys like Nuhu and Jordi Delem. So I'm aware of what's going on. But I think the guys who appreciate are the guys who came here, have been accepted, and are going to make it their home. We just want that for everybody else, I would say.
LFG.
I remember 5 years ago, we had one of our chats. And I think I referred to you as a non-national. You're somebody who doesn't belong to any nation, nowhere's home, because London, Congo, Akron, Seattle, and then eventually Portland.
Who do you root in the World Cup?
I think that's changed a little bit now, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I get this sense from
Steve
you.
says yes.
Yeah.
That Seattle has become a home you never thought. In 2011, you didn't think Seattle would be.
No, I mean, happened to be drafted here, came in to do my job, and then along the way found such a great community. It began with a community of people that love soccer. That's where I grew up in England. People hanging out in pubs, talking about the game. I can relate to that. I think for me it was the injury, the support I got through that, the comeback. People never forgot about me or whatever. They just always had my back. That helped. Even this off season, I might be coming back. The support, completely positive. No one said you're out of your mind or don't. Like everyone was like, we want to see you do this. They wanted it for me. So I feel more at home here than anywhere right now because this, my wife is from here.
Love, man.
I live here, I work here, I got friends here. It really is a special place, and that's why in whatever kind of happens, I'm always going to be associated in some way with the Sounders organization, whether it's officially or not officially, because I want to be. I don't think I was in Akron for 2 years, but I don't feel like I'm from Ohio. Like it was a great time, but it was very easy to move on and come here. If I ever leave Seattle, I'm always going to want to come back. Always. So
you're always welcome back.
So we're about 2 hours in. This is a good question.
Yeah.
Can you hang for a little bit?
Let's do it.
Are you good? Because I think I have questions. I think we all have a couple questions.
Yeah.
And this is actually super fun. So Mark he has a bodily injury. He blocked a shot the other day as a
forward.
Soccer,
his hand is broken.
As a forward.
He played soccer, his hand
and
might
by
be
forward,
broken.
I mean goal hanger.
Cherry picker.
Although he was only offside one time somehow.
Not bad.
No one really knows. I have like 50
You got
questions.
so distracting.
No, but I really have 50 questions. Somebody in the chat, I'm sorry for blanking on who it was. Somebody asked, do you have any defenders that you feared playing against?
Not
and in any place you've ever played.
Yeah, not feared, but there were certainly defenders the week leading up to the game or the night before the game. You knew it's going to be difficult. The guy who comes to mind was Olave at Salt Lake back in the day.
That guy
is intimidating.
He's a red card waiting to happen.
Yeah, before his injuries,
his lateral speed was.
He was incredible, fast, strong. So he probably was the guy you'd look at and be like, "Oh, it's going to be a very, very tough game. How are we going to get by him?" But no, I think once you step onto the pitch, you're not intimidated. You're there because you belong there. And you're ready to go. Yeah. So I would probably be more. It was a offensive players that scared me. Because I knew what we're going to do on the offensive end, but it was, can we stop Landon? Are we going to be able to stop, back in his heyday, Shari Joseph, when he was on fire at New England? Guys like that. Blanco at Chicago. So it's more, what can they do to hurt us that would scare me?
Did you just say Blanco? Cuauhtemoc?
One of my favorite players.
Yeah.
As a player, he was brilliant, man. Yeah.
And he didn't even need to run.
No, just
stood
good.
there.
Yeah.
That's somebody that you need, that he'd fit in perfectly to a charity.
A little bit of trouble right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We could text him right now.
LeBron versus Michael.
Jordan?
Oh my God, that's a great question.
I'm going to give you great background
For
before I
real.
answer you. So I went to college in Akron. LeBron is from Akron. People know that now because he's put on the map. At the University of Akron, the basketball team coach was LeBron's high school team coach. And two of the guys on the team were LeBron's high school teammates. The reason that's significant is that high school team was called the Fab Five, and they won a national title. And LeBron put them on the map. But two of those guys played at Akron, and one of them I became very good friends with. And he's known LeBron since they were maybe 10 years old, and that's 20 plus years.
I'm seeing LeBron at a charity soccer game in the
One day. So what's funny is, this is a sidetrack. 2 days before my charity game, I'm doing an event at the 90 for the Sounders, where we're inviting a lot of at-risk youth. And we're bringing in a panel of speakers to them. And one of the guys coming is LeBron's childhood friend. He's coming up to speak.
That's dope.
And Marcus Trufant will be there as well. I'll be there. So we're doing that.
Truth.
Yeah.
Where did Marcus Trufant play college?
He's trying to make a Cougar reference.
I know it. Yeah.
Boo.
So being in Akron, you absorb. No, I'm good. You absorb LeBron. You realize his story, where he had to come from, or what he had to overcome. At 16, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated called The Chosen One. He was called King James at 16 years old. And we've seen from Freddie Adu to whoever people don't live up to that.
Nope.
LeBron has lived up to
Most
it.
times.
He's surpassed it. For me, in my mind, and I watch a lot, I'm a massive NBA fan for the last 15 years or so. Love the NBA. LeBron, for me, is easily the best player of all time because his impact on a team, it doesn't make any sense. You know, he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he left them, went to Miami, four straight finals, Cleveland don't make the playoffs. Leaves Miami, comes back to Cleveland, 2 straight finals, Miami missed the playoffs. When he plays for the Cavs, they somehow always win. When he's off the court, even if Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love's playing, their record's like I think 11 and 19.
Yeah, they're minus
really bad.
5.
Really
or something,
bad.
Yeah.
So his impact on a
does is
court,
win,
I just
man.
think LeBron's game is so effective. It's not as flashy as MJ anymore. LeBron's not the same guy he was in 2012 that was dunking everywhere. He's up here now. He's passing, he's assisting, he's defending. I just think that kind of impact can't be measured, and to come from where he came from, the expectations to surpass them is, I think, incredible. And I think we do this in soccer too. When we remember past players, it's only the good parts. And like it's like they never had a bad game. Like I've watched NBA classics on NBA TV, and Jordan used to miss shots as well.
Yeah.
He had spells of cold stretches, right?
Blasphemy.
But exactly. It's like so when it's all said and done, I think LeBron James for me goes down as the greatest. Massive LeBron
way you
fan.
put
I'm gonna
that-
transition. Is Neymar the closest to LeBron for
As
Good one, man.
teenage pressure, the
Oh, for that.
expectations of a
Okay.
nation?
I wasn't sure where you were
and
going with
following through with it.
That's probably the best. That's probably the best comparison. Yes.
think?
Because Messi
Yeah.
didn't have the
Messi
expectations
never had
until
that.
he did it.
Cristiano never
He had the
that.
hair, though.
Neymar had it. That's probably the best one. Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
Olympics win.
Yeah. It probably is. Yeah. Yeah.
He lost first, though.
Wait, yeah, he didn't
Mexico
do
beat
it.
them. Just FYI, Mexico won the Olympics.
He was
and
the
beat Neymar.
That was
Yeah.
the first time that
Yeah.
like Olympic soccer meant something
It meant-
to a
yeah,
professional
yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I'll put Neymar there. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
I have like 50 questions.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Arsene Wenger, does he coach next season?
I think he will.
Yeah.
I don't think he should. I think I'm a massive Wenger fan, man. What he's done for that club is great. I just think sometimes, like we saw here in Seattle, change is good.
You need a minute.
Just
Yeah.
a different voice, a different guy. And I think Arsenal could benefit greatly from that.
I think it's less
Yeah.
that he's
it's not that
not
he's
a
the
good
problem.
coach.
No,
it's
yeah.
that they need a minute,
Just
right?
that
Yeah.
would be, yeah. I just think a change is good in this scenario.
Did it-
And yeah.
Did seeing Tottenham finally finish above them?
Yeah. No, so.
How did that hurt you? Like,
No,
'cause
yeah.
you were in that organization. You were North London.
Yeah, I'm still Arsenal fan, Arsenal friends, but I think the kind of twist and perspective we're putting on that is, okay, Tottenham finished ahead of Arsenal this year. They didn't win the league. They're not going to win it. Chelsea's going to win it. And that doesn't erase 20 years.
I mean, Dylan's not here right now. He's a Chelsea fan. You
yeah,
can
yeah.
say they're going to lose, but
I just think Arsenal can lean on their history when it comes to Tottenham. And as long as they get back above
So
next
it's kind
year,
of Portland, Seattle.
it's one time, right? So yeah, exactly. Like I'm not too bothered that they did it this year. As long as Arsenal find a way to get back above next year, it's going to be forgotten. Until Tottenham win the league and are consistent with it, and their history matches up, it's not. I don't think an issue for Arsenal.
Who's the global soccer player that we need to pay attention to, just to have fun and enjoy the game? That
Like
I mean,
someone that
EPL is easy to watch.
Yeah,
right?
someone that's fun to watch.
so not anyone obvious. You're saying not,
It could be like
not
someone in South Africa. Who
Okay,
cares?
not a
Like
Messi.
El Chucky.
No,
Emre Can,
Oh, what a goal!
dirtiest bicycle
What a goal.
kick ever.
What a goal!
That was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
You know, I think everybody saw him now because what he did to Barcelona. But Dybala from Juventus, I've been watching him for a few years now. Even when he was playing back home, like that's a player. Like he's special player. No, they're saying the next Messi. I don't think we'll see another Messi ever again. But
Really, like actually ever?
Messi is what I've played, like what he's doing. I couldn't go to a high school game and do that right now. Like what he's doing is unbelievable. What Messi
Yeah.
does, 60 goals a year for the last 8 years. Always performing in big games, makes everyone around him better. Him and Cristiano, what they've done is changed the game forever. So I don't think we'll see another Messi.
and 4 or 5 years ago, it used to be there are only 2 good teams in Spain.
Yes.
And now it's like no, there are like 7 good
six,
teams in
seven.
Spain.
Dominate, yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
a 2-team
and
league.
my thing with Messi, people said that was like, well, he does it in the Champions League against English teams, French teams, Italian teams. Messi is. I had a conversation with Thierry Henry, who I respect so highly, and I asked him, "You've played with great players. And Henry, growing up in England, was our Messi. Thierry Henry was unbelievable from 2000 to 2005 in Arsenal,
and he was
the king.
Dirty,
just unbelievable. I watched him every week, and I was a big.
We made fun of Chelsea, by the way. Yeah.
And so, who's the best guy you played with? And he named a guy. He says, so there's a guy called Dennis Bergkamp, who was a Dutch player, played at Arsenal, and he says the reason he was the best to play with was as a forward. If you made a run, he'll find you. So that's from that perspective. I played with Zidane. Magician on the ball, brilliant. I played with Ronaldinho, who invented things, he says, on the field. Ronaldinho was like almost, probably, this is Henry's words, he must have been maybe struck by lightning as a kid and it changed him and gave him supernatural powers because he does things with the ball he shouldn't do. He goes, but the best, and this is Thierry Henry talking, I've ever seen is Messi. And he goes, it's not close. He goes, what the guy does on the field, we're not going to appreciate until he's gone. His close control, his ability, seeing him every day in training, the amount of goals he scores. And I only get up now to watch Barcelona. Like I'll get up early on a Sunday or Saturday. I don't want to miss a moment because people talk about Jordan, I wasn't there. They talk about Pelé, Maradona, I wasn't there. I'm here for Messi. Like I don't want to miss anything this guy does. Yeah. And he's just, for me, we all in the locker room talk about it. Like when you play the sport, it's so hard to be good.
Classico, man.
And to just be that good is, for me,
it feels weird though because people, especially American sports fans, and I think they're actually opening up to soccer, which we've been talking about for 30 years, 50 years really, but you can't look at, people are like, oh, Ronaldo did this and Messi did, stop comparing. It's just a different thing. So last summer, I went to all the games at CenturyLink, and I sat in the second row down towards the south end of the stadium.
We're talking Copa America Sanitaria.
Yeah. And Messi gets essentially begged onto the field by the fans.
Yeah.
Comes onto the field, and I was like, you know what? I'm close enough. I'm not going to do anything else but track him.
That's what everybody did.
And I'm watching him, and I literally turned my head for a second and turned it back. And somehow he went 40 yards and was in the box with the ball, and he passed it to someone, and I was like, how did he even get there?
Yeah,
and that's what he's doing to other players.
Yeah, like
I'm trying to pay attention to him. And I can't.
Yeah, I've never in my life seen, and I'm a big Ronaldinho fan. For me, that was like growing up. When I said who was the best, he did, until this day, he did things that Messi can't do. Like he just would invent things. It just was. But Messi's effectiveness, consistency for the last 10 years. We played against him here, and I played against him when I was 12 years old. When I was 12 years old.
What?
When I played for Arsenal, we were the best team in the country for a year, and you'd always enter these international tournaments, and we always entered one age group up. And I was born in '88. The '87 team for Barcelona was Messi, Piqué, Fabregas, that team.
Those are okay.
Yeah,
they were decent.
Yeah, and
dude,
we didn't know who these guys were.
All of them are like transfer fees for the entire Sounders team.
Exactly. So they beat us 6-2. Messi scored 4. We didn't know who he was, and it wasn't until years later that it literally just hit me one day that was him. The way that kid, and he was tiny, did to us back then.
Which of you had more hair?
Back then he did. It was like this floppy. Yeah. And then we played against him here for the Sounders, and
that 09.
He didn't try. He was walking around the whole game, and then a couple times in the game he took off and he scored 2 goals. And it's just like, this is a different level. We played against
stop, just walk away.
Like that same summer, we played against Chelsea, your boys, and the difference with them and Barcelona was night and day. Barcelona was just a different, So Messi for me, I can talk about Messi all day because honestly, man, like I've been around this game and I've seen so many players.
You could do a Messi podcast.
I would love to. Like
just analyze his movement.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see another. No.
So we've talked greatest in NBA, greatest in soccer.
Yeah.
Marshawn's going to be your Ocho Cinco. You follow American football a little bit now because you've lived here for a while, and obviously Seahawks are popular.
Seahawks right now.
Who are those players that when you watch the NFL, you're like, that...
This might not be the popular, but the best player is, for me, just as a player, Tom Brady. And here's why. I know. Mute his mic.
No, nobody hates him because he's bad.
What button can I turn off his mic?
Put it this way. All the people who understand American football are like, Yeah, that guy's super good.
Yeah, so I get all the off-field stuff. I'm not a fan of that either. But just as what I've seen him do, even against the Seahawks a couple years back in that Super Bowl, what he did to bring his team back this year. He's the best. He's a special player. And in any athlete that I see like that level of greatness, I try to respect it. And in Tom Brady, I see it every time he plays. So I'd put him up there. But my favorite was Peyton Manning. I loved his style. I like his personality.
So the difference is, Peyton Manning was supposed to be that good.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady was not supposed to be Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Shout out to Aaron Riley for his Go
Michigan?
Blue Michigan guy.
Fuck Michigan.
And I'm going to do baseball fan. I haven't seen you talk about baseball much.
Fan. I've been to a few Mariners games in my time here. I watch enough of it. I've met a few of the guys on that team, but not enough of a fan of that one to know who. But I tuned in to watch Derek Jeter's last game, for example. I love those moments, but yeah, not enough of a fan to know when someone's really good and not good. I just don't know.
I kind of imagine you being an Ichiro just because of like the way he dedicates
when he
himself.
came back, I'm aware of what he did when he came back recently. Yeah, things that So I follow enough, but I don't know.
You pretty much just love sports, though.
Oh yeah, I try to. Yeah, what happens is I end up liking an athlete and following them, and then it begins to expand. Like now, I've made no secret of this. I'm a massive Golden State fan. Like just in the last 2.5 years, and it's from. It's hard to be that good all the time. It's just hard to do it in sports. Consistency. And what Steph Curry was doing for a while, and still, it doesn't make, I probably go 12, 13 games a year. As much as I can, I fly down to Oakland to watch them.
Save our Sonics.
When they were in Portland last week, I went there to watch that game, and Steph was unreal. It's like he's doing things that he'll shoot and he'll turn around before the ball's gone in because he knows it's going in.
But when he's
not like
bad,
when
he's bad,
he'll make it. Yeah,
he's bad and he hits 72%.
Yeah, it's like
if you would have been here in the '90s, man, watching GP and Sean Kemp throw alley-oops from mid-court.
So
have you reached out to those guys?
So Sean Kemp, the same mutual friend that got Marshawn here is very good buddies with Sean Kemp. So we played in a couple of times, but more Sean Kemp. I would actually love to get him out to the charity game. Actually, that's not a bad shout. Yeah,
dude, people would go crazy.
Starting here on SonarFeed.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Women's soccer player.
My what?
Women's
team or player? Favorite player overall is Megan Rapinoe. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, as a player, I think she's so good as a player. I'm glad she's here in Seattle. Megan Rapinoe, and I like Fishlock from Seattle Reign. I like the whole Reign team, really. I've watched their games as much as I can.
Is that a little bit because of Arsenal?
Yeah, and plus there's that Laura.
Yeah,
the coach.
She plays that way.
Yeah, and she coached my first year charity game as well. So I got to meet her. She's great person. And I got to know some of the girls through that. So I know they've come to Sounders games before. So yeah, but Megan Rapinoe is like the one that makes me go, wow, like she's really legit. Yeah.
And she's a fantastic person.
Yes.
Just thought of one.
Ugo.
Favorite PA announcer.
4S2.
Oh yeah.
What am I gonna say?
So, is there any style like English announcers are a lot different than South American announcers or Mexican announcers?
No, I like the South American. I like the Spanish speaking style. I like that when the goal and that long.
Go la I did. No shame.
I've been trying to get him to do no la sa so against the opposing team.
You guys might hear something on a save because Miller's been so clutch with some saves and about to do.
He's good too. Yeah. So yeah, but I like cool styles.
Latin American.
I do like the style.
Are your favorite?
I do like the style.
Just put those words right.
So
that's what I heard.
I watched La Liga MX in Spanish.
Who's your favorite Liga MX team again?
I know you're Chivas, right?
Atlante.
Honestly, no, I don't.
This is important.
Yeah, I no longer have a favorite team. I can't say that. There's players that I've enjoyed watching over the years.
Like Giovanni Dos Cerro?
Like the goal he scored on Tim Howard in the Gold Cup. 7 Gold Cups.
Chip, yeah.
Yeah, 7 Gold. Yeah, the chip.
Sorry.
You know it's a chip. You
We
saw
got
that.
into the little national.
We're
here.
gonna move on.
I love it.
So, Sean Wise asked, I want to break this into 2 things. He said favorite Sounders goal celebration, and then I want to know if you have a just in general, either yours or someone else's that's like super weird goal celebration.
No, the best
favorite
one-
Sounder and favorite whatever.
The best one for me is always going to be Rogers versus Portland. It's just perfect. It was just
Legend.
that
Instant legend.
that just
And then he was like,
immortalized-
I'm out.
Yeah, like I already love Roger, but that just immortalized Roger in my mind. I'm like, that was amazing. The best celebration I've seen was a couple weeks ago. Was Messi in the last minute at the Clasico.
Oh, that.
To do that in Spain, like it's heated.
Take a
Kind of just
yellow.
to show my name and like be so defiant in the Bernabeu. I thought that was amazing. Like I love that. So
And Barcelona
And the way the
hates
ref,
Madrid.
look at the ref like, that's exactly what I
90% of the time, that yellow for taking your shirt off is complete
That
stupid.
one,
Completely
stupid.
That was
I liked it a lot. I thought that was.
So,
What did he do? Against who? His last goal? Against
Yeah.
Vancouver? Yeah. So no, I like that. I like that. Yeah. Did he?
played at.
That's a good question.
Man, around the world.
Azteca.
No.
Nope.
No, man. I think the Camp Nou, Barcelona Stadium, because just so many great memories growing up watching magic happen there till this day. Seeing it I've never actually been there, so to be there. And that would have been amazing to have played there. Yeah, I think that one.
It's a good one. So so I've been to Barcelona
Yeah.
and to Madrid.
Yeah.
And what's weird is you can just walk through the neighborhood and it's just there.
Yeah, I've seen the Madrid one.
And you're like,
Yeah.
huh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a stadium.
Yeah.
And then you go inside and it's
And
obviously epic.
Yeah. That one I would say.
What's your favorite one you've ever played at?
Aside from here, obviously we always enjoyed playing here. Now the best one here, stadium wise. Okay, so stadium, I think KC have a great stadium. Kansas City, it's a great
horrible turf.
Yeah, it's good, and the Red Bulls have a great stadium. But the best atmospheres was always the CONCACAF games, going into hostile environments, because it was fun, man. It's
We agree.
that
Because that's the most
that
fun.
was up there, like the
You're like, oh, we're going to die outside the stadium? Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, we got an armed escort? Yep. Rogers texting? Yep.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a good question. So
some of those.
Roger came with us in Honduras in
I remember.
2015, and we're out. We actually drove past our entrance because they told us to do that and come in a different way. And a few of us had scouted out the stadium, and we're like, no, we need to get out of the truck here. And half the people had traveled in Latin America or other places and were comfortable, and half the people were like, nope. We're not getting out here. And we get out, and Roger's literally like talking to other Sounders people. And we're like, Roger, get off your phone right now. There's people with guns. You should just go that way. And he's like, I'm good. And he's just texting. And we're going inside, and he told us later, and it wasn't bad. It was just, he said, anytime I had ever left the country for soccer, we got driven into the stadium, and we literally never really saw the outside. We drove by it, but we were never outside except at our hotel. Like, do you have anything that's like scary or just super weird?
I don't know which team we played 1 year in the Champions League, and we were told, because at times we could leave the hotel, like right around the vicinity of the hotel. On this trip, we were told not to go out at all. There was like a serious threat against that particular hotel and against us, and so there was literally armed security in the lobby all around the hotel, and we could not leave the hotel at all for the 2 or 3 days we were down there. So that probably, and then we always get a police escort to the stadium in those games. That was doubled a lot more, and maybe
Marathon,
it was, and then. So that probably was like more very unnerving experience. But for the most part, we always felt safe traveling to those places. It just was, the facilities wouldn't be what they were here, for example. It was very uncomfortable, and I think those teams enjoyed doing that to us.
On purpose, no question.
Yeah, and it never really helped us out. Cold showers, like it just was very lots of adversity facing.
Weak coffee.
He's at Dallas.
Dallas is like that. So, although if you curse in the Dallas stadium, you get thrown out now.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those games. Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah.
Dave Clark.
You put out an album.
Oh yeah, this is way back. Oh man, yeah.
Is it on Spotify?
Steve's hold on.
It's gone
What
down.
Oh yeah.
have you
Rhymes so
have you
fly,
considered
you'll cry.
So
following up that?
So there was myself and James Riley used to work very closely with the Renton Skyway Boys and Girls Club. So we did that music project to raise funds for them, and we did. The only time I've ever considered it, and I would ever consider it again, would be if I did something with Clint. Like if we were able to do something.
Twitter.
I've
go to work.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that what you're telling Clint on Wednesday then?
Yeah, I've mentioned it to him. I was like, we spoke about music and everything, but I would consider
Forget
doing
Kendrick and Drake, bro.
something like
I'm
that. I
ready
think
for-
if he and I had the
I'm
time
ready
to really
for
sit down
Steve
and think up
and
something
Dempsey.
and do it, I would do something with Clint. So we might not, I don't know, but probably the only time I'd think to do something like that again. That's what I'm thinking. It's like we'd have to sit down and really talk through. We've had similar, to an extent, life experiences at times just from our conversations. We like similar music, but that's the thing about Clint. There's one side of him that's like super into like hip hop and that, but then he goes fishing all the time, and he's like super like in our hotel.
He's Steve Zakuani meets Marcus Hanneman.
Yeah, the biggest kind of conflict we had was every night I wanted to watch NBA games, and Clint was trying to watch like hunting or fishing shows. So it was like, who's gonna get to the remote first? That was like, I mean, he liked sports, but he would forego a sports game to watch like A&E or Discovery Channel. Like he would watch that. Always in bed early, FaceTime his kids. Was very different. Like. To what I expected. So, but I would do something with him if that time came, or we were able to talk and figure something out.
I have to tell you, I totally bust out that Deuce video every so often.
Yeah.
Just because I'm watching him like kick a ball around and answer the phone, and you show that to people, and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Clint Dempsey." And he's like, "Yo, what up? It's Deuce."
Yeah.
Literally. He literally says that. So MC Solar. He's French.
He's French speaker. Yeah.
He's Senegalese.
Wow.
He's fantastic.
Wow.
Actually, I think French rap does not get the credit it deserves.
should get,
Might be because we don't know French.
It's hard to do. But really, like as rap or hip hop goes, like not all languages work. It's just a thing. Spanish kind of works. French works if you're good at it. Reggaeton is fantastic. But there's a couple of French rappers that are pretty good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I listened to it in the past, but I'm not like up to.
What you think about Kendrick's
up to
last
date on
album,
it? Oh, good question. So I like Kendrick, but I don't think like
Steve's humble.
Everybody else. Yeah. So I like it, but I'm not.
You don't think it's fire?
Yeah, I'm not like a crazy Kendrick fan. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, I feel like I should be, because he talks about really good stuff. He's very kind of conscious and that, but I just never have connected with his music like that.
But
I
you
like
don't have to like it. You just have to know
So
it's.
who's your favorite artist right now?
Right now,
what's
for
on your
me,
phone?
man, it's.
Oh yeah, what is on your playlist?
It has
What's
to
on your
be,
phone?
I play a lot of music from back home. I'll tell you about it in a sec. But US-based Drake, because
Like new
Because he
Drake
likes
or old
TFC?
Drake?
older stuff.
Because you like
The
Toronto?
very new
Because
one.
he likes Cleveland.
Yeah, the very new stuff,
Oh.
not as
Toronto.
much, but his stuff, like his first couple albums, first couple mixtapes. Last year we were playing Kansas City, that Kansas City game, and I went down there to broadcast, and our hotel was so busy. It was like people all around the night before the game, and I was like, what's going on here? And they said Drake and Future were in town. So I literally got changed, bought a ticket.
Yup.
I went down to the concert in Kansas City, and I watched Drake, and seeing him live kind of made me appreciate him more as well. And I know he's a soccer fan, and he seems like a great guy. But I like Drake's music, like older stuff more. But I just always liked the music he puts out.
I agree on the older stuff. He's a sandbagger.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, my team's good.
I'll jump.
I
yeah,
like them.
True.
Toronto, Sporting Kansas City. Toronto, Sporting Kansas City.
Kentucky.
Sounders.
I think he's been a Dodgers fan. Like
No, he does,
Laker.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So, Steve, what about Post Malone?
Ooh. Good.
Post Malone?
So I do like him, but yeah, I do like him, but I'm not a big fan of him. I do like him. The guy that people might not expect is, I've just got into his music now, is a guy called Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
He came to a Sounders game last year.
Really?
Yeah.
We should know stuff like that.
Yeah,
Seriously. Awesome.
What happened was, I got a text in the morning. It was like, yo, MGK is in town. He's going on tour. He did Seattle last night. He's off tonight. He's doing Spokane tomorrow night. They want to come to a Sounders game. Can you get them tickets? And I had no idea who the guy was.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah. And I was like,
I can get him tickets. I have no idea who he is.
Who's
What's
MGK?
an MGK?
And then I said, a guy called Machine Gun Kelly. He's from Cleveland, blah, blah. So Alex Caulfield, Sounders PR guy, is from Cleveland. So I asked Alex, do you know MGK? And he went nuts. He was like,
here's Charter 137, Road 2.
He went nuts. He was like, give them my number, I'm going to hook it up. So he gave him and his whole entourage, 15, 20 of them, sweet tickets. But they were so impressed by our fans, the whole boom, like, they wanted to be down on the field while they were doing that. And they stayed there for like 20, 30 minutes of the game. Then it started raining and they went upstairs. But yeah, they were there.
That's a classic Seattle moment right there.
Yeah. I forget which game it was, but it was.
It's because they were on their phones in the section.
It might have been a Dallas game. It might have been a playoff game last year. So they were there. Maybe KC playing game. Yeah, but they came last year. So then I went home, researched him, liked his story and his music. So I like his stuff a little bit. Yeah.
You said there's some London music that you're...
Yeah, so in London there's a genre of music, it's called grime. And it's very different to hip-hop. It's a lot faster, the sound's different. And it's only like 17 years old. So it began around 2000. So grew up with this music. And there's a couple of artists now who are getting a lot of recognition in the States now, who've been doing it in England for a long time. So it's just the music I'm comfortable with, I grew up with. I got friends who do it, like Bradley Wright Phillips and a guy called Yannick Balassi, who plays in England. They do it too. They do grime music, and people don't know that.
Why is it called grime? Is it because it's like a gangster?
It's grimy. Like for the first 5 years, I never had a name. And then the mainstream media says that music sounds very grimy, and the name stuck. It's very hard-hitting, underground.
So it's not gangster rap.
Did it grow out of...
What are some names?
It's not
Did it
like
grow out of
grinding.
the islands, or did it grow out of West Africa?
That's what I keep in the lining.
The Caribbean islands. So it's very heavily Caribbean influenced. And yeah, we have.
Can we get like
What are some group
grimy to end so BWP stops scoring goals? Because if that's his motivator,
Yeah,
we need
so-
to end that as a music genre.
So he's big on that.
Is it like an advancement on jungle then?
Jungle, reggae, there's a music genre called bashment, which is an advancement of drum
Isn't
and
it
bass.
it's slower.
like a fusion
D&B.
of... Yeah.
Whoa.
It's a fusion of all of that. It's really hard hitting. If you wanted to get like a crash course in it, the best album that's ever come from that scene is an album called Boy in the Corner. It
Boy in the Corner?
Released in 2003 by a guy called Dizzy Rascal, who is the pioneer of it. He's like the biggest one ever. But
You know
that
who he
album was like 14 years ago. It's like the soundtrack to a lot of our childhood growing up there. So I would say that one. And then there's a few good guys now as well. But
are there any like West or Central African artists that like big on world music that you listen to?
The like DA, the corner. Yeah. So the two biggest grime, that one. He's got it. The two biggest grime artists are both African, actually, right now. Yeah, one's from Nigeria, one's from Ghana, and I listen to a lot of Congolese music too. Like, is in French, but it's not rap or anything. It's just it's dancey, and I grew up in a house around that, and it's so every now and then I'll play that in my car, or I get my mom to send me CDs or different things that from back home.
Thanks,
so,
Steve's mom.
Yeah, so I listen to a lot of that. Yeah, it just depends. But my wife is a massive country music fan, which I've never listened to country music before. But 2 years ago, I was at...
Where's your wife from?
She's from Puyallup, so she grew up there. Yeah. So
I would never have guessed that.
She took me to see Jason Aldean and Kenny Chesney at CenturyLink 2 years ago. What an amazing time. It was like, this is sick.
70,000 people.
Yeah.
Like,
and I couldn't believe.
And you were like, shit.
So I've been more. I actually enjoy. I like the stories. I like that style of music now. So I listen to all kinds of music. I would always default to like hip hop and stuff because I grew up on that. But no, like
it's better to like a lot of music.
Yeah.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
For sure. So We're running way hot right
we're
now.
way over
And we
time.
appreciate your
No,
time.
seriously, your
We're
time's
good,
been
man. We're good.
You've been
We're
here
like
2.5.
above and beyond.
2.5
Man,
right
thank
now.
you, man.
That's so good.
He just wanted to make sure he stayed for karaoke.
Everyone already did all of my songs, so I'm good.
Nah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah. So we're okay.
They're showing
So we're
their
okay.
soul
So,
in there.
Kingdom Hope.
if a current sounder, were to be the DJ in the locker room for the night, who would be the most awkward DJ on the team right now?
Ooh.
And
Let me-
and tell me why it's not Chad Marshall.
Because it's Jordan Morris.
Oh my God, it is Jordan Morris.
He's the first guy that came to mind, Jordan.
Wait, Jordan?
I'm sorry, Jordan. Yeah, but he did. Yeah. Just because I don't know what kind of music he likes, but the only
Have you been to Mercer Island? Because I have.
Exactly. The only music related thing I've seen him do is try to dance with Torres, and
it did not go well.
It wasn't great. So
Like the bunny hop did
Guy
not
said
even work.
next championship because he knows that it's hard, bro.
We actually need to win again just to see what happens.
So just off of that, I'd probably say Jordan. But I don't know. I don't know who's. I'm trying to think like what Gustav Svensson would play. I don't know. Yeah, he might. Yeah, I'm not
Probably
sure.
some Swedish speed
Yeah,
metal,
I'm
though.
trying to
I
think
mean,
what he would. Yeah.
he's got the
So-
speed metal hair.
Actually,
Yeah.
while you're thinking, is Nico the guy who turns the radio off in the locker room?
No.
Not anymore.
We heard that.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that. I mean, maybe game dates when I'm not there, but when I was in training and everything I've seen, no, I've not actually seen that. The thing, I don't think it's as big as it was when I was playing. When I was playing, it was very, Nolan Meyer, equipment manager, would draw up the playlist game by game. We'd give requests. It was very structured, and we knew what was coming. Everyone would get input. Now, I think it's just whoever.
I think it's Torres.
Yeah. And I think most guys are just in there,
Some reggaeton, baby.
have their own earphones in now. So it was very different when I played. It was like Tyrone Marshall would have a lot of his music on there. Casey would play some of his stuff, and his stuff was like insane. Like, yeah, it gets you too hyped for the game. It's like too much. Like,
You're like, can we calm down?
yeah, Casey was.
Can I have a tea? Like some tea in the locker room, please.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it is now.
So the last thing we like to do every week, and I would love to talk to you literally for the next 12 hours,
Yeah.
basically. So everyone would love you to come back.
Yeah.
Which maybe we figure out something to do around your
Yeah.
event in July.
That'd be- yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Dude,
But
sure.
the last thing we like to do is talk a little predictions. So we have a game Saturday at
Noon.
fucking noon.
Yeah, it's early.
ESPN.
Yeah.
Yeah. Noon.
Good news, though. Toronto plays midweek at Orlando.
That is true.
Good.
That's true. Yeah.
By the way, that Javinko guy's pretty good.
He is, but
Not shabby, but he's hurt.
I thought we did pretty good against him in MLS Cup. So
Yeah.
he was a
Big
bit
check.
off anyway, but I thought the
put him in
guys
check.
did a good job against him. Yeah.
Tired Gio.
So
and
round the
Josie.
horn
Yeah.
predictions. I'm gonna say 2-1 Sounders.
2-0. Sounders.
Ugo.
3-0. Sounders.
I'm gonna go 3-1.
Ooh.
Sounders. Yeah.
3-1 Sounders
Yeah.
and what like 3 3 Jovan Jones Olympicos. Let's never do that again.
A reminder to everybody, Kingdom Hope, kh17.eventbrite.com.
Yeah.
Or
you
you
could
follow
just-
Steve, and
or just
he'll tweet
text-
about it once a
text
day.
Steve at home.
Yeah. It's honestly, man.
It's Marshawn Lynch playing soccer.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
Chad
You can
Ochocinco,
get an
Jimmy
autograph
Conrad.
from
Just
Marshawn Lynch,
D-Row.
Dempsey,
You'll get
and
Wait,
Yeah.
can I
Ochocinco.
boo Landon Donovan this year? Because last year
He
I got
won't be
yelled
there.
He's
at.
not coming.
I know, but I just want to
you
boo
can still
Landon
do it.
Donovan.
I'll boo him with you. I love booing him.
So you know what he said?
With a passion.
He actually said it was one of the best. Yeah, he spoke so highly of the Seattle fan base.
We were kidding. We
Yeah.
really were. Because, like,
Yeah.
good on him to show up.
Yeah.
And somebody walked by and he's like, what are you doing booing? This is for the kids. And we're like, we know.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's waving
yeah,
to
he
us.
embraces it. He was happy. So
We booed EJ in here year one, and he loved it.
yeah. So I mean,
doing,
LD would have come back. I think he's put out public. He's having a second kid right around like 2 days before.
He's actually trying to come back for RSL still.
Maybe they need him. They need him.
That was off-season rumor.
So
That's not just made up.
Cut them off.
Yeah. So, I
Anyway.
mean, we'll do what we did last year. We'll come back or bring Eddie again. I know he enjoyed
Yeah,
it. So
man.
we'll bring him. I
Love
think
Eddie.
he'll be. Yeah, we can even do the day after the game just to get him on here.
He
He'll be here
might
for a
be
while.
the best interview I've
He's-
ever been in the room for.
Ever.
He's incredible.
That was
He's,
the greatest show,
because he just
man.
talks. He's just like
No disrespect, but
no.
this show
I
was
agree. I
like-
was there too. It's like yeah. There's no filter.
You
I'm
were
just-
smack
yeah.
talking from
I
behind.
was.
You were like
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes.
It was one of the best moments. Who should play Eddie Johnson in a movie?
That was
And
the
you
best.
from the background shout Wesley Snipes for the Demolition Man reference.
It was literally like an Eddie Murphy sketch where he's like Wesley Snipes.
Oh shit!
Man, I
It was
remember
like
that.
one. I think it might have been the only thing you said because you were just so subtle in the background. You were hanging out with his kids.
Man,
that's funny.
That show was so real.
So
Like, he was
Jimmy
so good,
Conrad
man.
again.
Yeah, Jimmy will be here.
Marcus.
Marcus, everybody except Gooch and Landon.
Because Gooch had to go play like
He's
soccer
playing,
again.
yeah, he came back. So yeah, everybody else will be here, and then Ocho Cinco will be here. He might even be. Hey, if he stays on the Monday, we'll come with him. He's like.
The bigger question is how many people will Ocho Cinco beat at FIFA?
Yeah. So
The
what-
weekend that he's here.
Yes.
All of them.
So I'm trying to set something up at my house, like, and to play. So
If you need an announcer,
we're figuring
if you need
out.
someone to announce the goals.
We're actually working on weekends for the FIFA tournament, so if
Yeah.
you want to have it at your house,
I'm dead.
I would love to have it here at the Berliner.
No, yeah. I'm
But-
dead serious. So I'm dead serious. I'm trying to work something out
Mark,
there.
I think Mark has a question.
Yeah.
So,
Actual question?
yeah.
Yeah.
If Toronto has no shots on goal on Saturday,
Can they win?
does Kurt Larson burst into flames?
Man, I don't acknowledge that guy. I have zero time for.
No!
Yeah.
Good
So
answer.
again, kh17.eventbrite.com.
Eventbrite.com. KH17.eventbrite.com. But honestly, you tweet me, most likely I'll tweet back. I don't care. I talk to anybody. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I'm not going to tweet this person or only certain people. I'll tweet whoever. And I'm on. Some days, life's happening. I'm not on there. There's other days I got nothing to do. I'll be on there.
On fire,
20
like, boom, boom,
And
boom,
then,
boom.
and then you'll go out for drinks with them.
and I'll drink. Yeah, like
How was that with Matt Oak?
But that guy. That guy is a legend,
Yo, we
man.
gotta go
He's
for
like,
tacos.
No, seriously. He's actually legendary.
No. Yeah, I respect him so much. I mean, he's just, we talk. He always wants to take a shot. I did this last time with him. One.
Matt?
Yeah.
I've never. Was it tequila?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Was it
yeah.
at the Atlantic Crossing?
Yes, absolutely.
You did a little fundraiser up there,
We
right?
did that for the LA Galaxy Sounders game. I was down there. But no, honestly, man, that's one of the things I've tried. I think when you play, you kind of have a guard up a little bit. But for me, there isn't. Like, I've tweeted at people, and it's like, we have a pickup game, come. And I've shown up, and I've played. I've had people over my house to watch Sounders games.
I'm about to tweet you. Let's go to the taco truck.
Yeah,
bro.
like I'm good. Like I don't care. Like I just interact. I think the guy I take that off is Chad Ochocinco. Like he's like he has millions of followers.
He's insane.
He tweets
in a good way.
Yeah,
Like, really.
He shows up at people's
That's
houses.
the
He
thing.
was
It's
truly
all
blessed. Like
serious.
the NFL
Yeah.
truly blessed him with the opportunity,
Yeah,
and
he
takes
like,
it to
I
reach
saved
out
my
to
money.
like
Yeah.
dude in nowhere.
And I drove a
Yeah.
Prius.
Yeah.
And now I do whatever I want.
yeah. So
And I this
Yeah.
may be a good way to end the
Yeah.
show tonight.
Yeah.
Again, we'd love to talk to you all night.
Dude, we could.
Salute. Thank you for coming out.
Cheers.
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 Glass of vodka ever. So no, but seriously, you give us, I think, unfettered access to you, which is fantastic.
Yeah, man, and it's like legit real, like just chopping it down.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And I think it's fun to chat about whatever. We ask you about who you want to like wreck
Yeah.
on defense.
Yeah.
Or, like what's fun about Sounders. And I think you have a cool job. We have fun stuff to
Right.
do here. And it's great for you to come out. You're supporting, frankly, big things.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
all of us wish we
No
could be a
question.
part of on the regular.
Yeah.
So we appreciate your time.
For sure.
And thank you for coming out.
No, you guys. Honestly, thank you for having me. The feeling. The feeling's more than mutual. It's mutual, and I think what you said there, the access, for me, that's important because I know a lot of people here in Seattle. There's questions you've always wanted to ask players and like and if I can always answer, and like, that's fine for me. I DM with people, I tweet at people. Like I try to follow everyone back. That's like a Sounders fan. I try and follow them back, and just to have that because I see myself I'm one side still kind of on the player side, but more of a fan now. And
it's exhausting though because we're kind of jerks.
No, it's great.
So
I like it.
one of
I
us.
like it.
So when you'll be on SonarFeed next week.
New regular.
No, but seriously, anytime you ever want to come out, whether you've got something going on or you just literally want to show up and be like, "What's up?"
Yeah, absolutely. I will. Yeah.
Or if you want to go to wave some flags.
Yeah. No, I'll take you out, but we'll definitely bring Eddie back. Yeah, Joven. I mean, all these. It's like you guys tell me who you are. Honestly, all these guys. It's like people think maybe they wouldn't want to do it. They would do it. They would genuinely do it.
I'll translate.
Like I've hung out with Joven. We hung out Saturday night after the game. Like we hung out. We talk. Those guys are cool. Like so, I think there'll be situations where we can get a few more. I think it's cool to get a guy say they'd enjoy this format. It's very informal. We're talking. It's not staged.
Yeah, it's meant to be low stress. Like we're not here to torch you guys. Like
I think Joven will be good. Like Eddie loved. I mean, he's honest. Like, he would say if he didn't like it. Like,
he told us stuff that I had never heard him say.
Exactly.
Yeah, same deal.
Exactly. So I think guys appreciate the format. Yeah. You found you guys? Exactly.
That's right. So, Eddie, on his last show, Grandma reminds Eddie when he came here last year, said that he'd hang out with the Sounders fans
and he did.
And he did.
Yeah. He's real. Yeah. He's probably the most unfiltered, real person I've. Yeah. He's Eddie. Yeah.
But hard count. So kh17.eventbrite.com.
Yeah. Or tweet me.
Or just show up at Steve's house and be like, I need tickets.
FIFA. Yeah.
There's everything. Like, if you have a small budget, you'll have fun on just the minimal ticket and just hang out and enjoy
$20,
soccer.
$200.
You got a big
you're
budget.
Gonna have a good time.
You're gonna have a good time too, and it's not gonna be like there's no pressure on like budget.
No,
like,
and it's
I went as minimal budget last year, and
fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think July 2nd as well, there's no Sounders game that weekend. Right by July 4th. Should get great weather. There's always stuff on site for the kids. Like I just think the whole weekend is going to be pretty cool.
It's all about the Lumpia. The Lumpia truck, dude.
Or Sean Lynch in this man.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, guys.
Any last comments from anybody?
Nah, man,
good. That was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Fuck Chelsea.
Let's go.
Tremendo lo que está haciendo el equipo de los Seattle Sounders. Cuando ya se veía todo perdido. Está bien, pesazo salvador de Ozzy Alonso. Las cosas se ponen tablas. Y por qué no, a buscar la victoria. Error de New England Revolution al haberse confiado y sacar a su mejor hombre de la cancha. Y ahorita, con el empuje de este estadio, el equipo de los Seattle Sounders busca la victoria.